This is 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH.
Rolling down 109 in a truck. Pull my ride up to the light, that's what's up. Look to my right and it's a ride rolling up. It's Lucci telling me tonight we in the club. He got the 24 road Escalade. He got the Lamborghini doors like they played. His hammers ring cause that's how he was raised. His palace mob and tonight we get
Listen, I'm from the ghetto, the slums, the rats, the roaches, the bums, the metal that stuns, the addicts, the cracks, the crumbs. The level with funds is tragic and lavish as none. With rebels, they runs and rabbits like savages' sons. With did him and bigger and swiftly he shined the mud. That city a pity with 50 took 9 of them subs.
This is 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH. This is 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH.
rolling down 109 in a truck. Pull my ride up to the light, that's what's up. Look to my right and it's a ride rolling up. It's Lucci telling me tonight we in the club. He got the 24 road Escalade. He got the Lamborghini doors like they played. His hammers ring cause that's how he was raised. His palace mob and tonight we get
Listen, I'm from the ghetto, the slums, the rats, the roaches, the bums, the metal that stuns, the addicts, the cracks, the crumbs. The level with funds is tragic and lavish as none. With rebels, they runs and rabbits like savages' sons. With did him and bigger and swiftly he shined the mud. That city a pity with 50 took 9 of them subs.
This is 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH.
I've been swimming in this ghetto life. I've been living
2005.
in these ghetto streets. It's hard, got caught up in life. Hey,
Yo, Hen, yo, Joey Mecca. Yo, this one's personal to me right here. This shit is the truth. Hip-hop needs some real truth right now. You feel me? I really seriously think hip-hop needs me right now. All these clown rappers, all this make-believe, y'all ride with me. I told 2 texts when I'm in irony of the street. Then go beat Lex and tell him why I'm in all this heat. It seems to be a thing that we born within this ghetto. A hot jump shot, a book of rhymes, all this metal. It's a defeatist attitude developed in high school. While those with stable homes look on like they the wounds. So brothers be like, fuck it, that's the motto of the hood. While y'all apply to college, our projects is where it's wood. I'm living in this trap, only fact I got my gap. Now I'm all strapped up, and little Chuck got it tucked. And reload these, spitting that breeze over weeds. And reload knees, shooting at leaves, toking trees. I violate beer, I drink up on it like it's water. My mind ain't clear, I'm working on it cause my daughter. My life ain't fair, my mama left when I was 1. She's out in Bed-Stuy, I'm on the island in the slums. It ain't my fault, society made me to a thug. In the 90's is grimy, 2000's is blooded up. And low crip too, it's cause of family that is blue. And no blood red, so many dead that is sad. The funeral homes is forced and plenty orphans flipping coffins. While Drug Man Dan is at the orphanage giving orphans. And y'all blame us while Judge Benson's giving sentences. Out there ain't us, we in the system getting fenced in. And y'all blame us.
I'm swimming in this ghetto life. And I'm living in this ghetto street. System got me living metal life. And they pop me when I can't drink. It's gotta be a better way to die. It's gotta be a better way to be. Now I gotta be a threat tonight. It's gotta be the one to make you.
Y'all close your eyes, envision drastic being stabbed. Imagine Joe hanging in the back of Linden Ave. Imagine Wild Man up in heaven having a fight. And Shaheem the God is telling court to keep it light. Imagine True Indeed and J Thug is alright. Dressing in all red up in heaven blood tight. News demo and country, so much time it ain't hype. And 15-year-old Scully getting 25 to life. This is my life, my cousin Chase is Brooklyn's ace. Be up on gates with 38s in the skates. And all my life, my cousin Wise sticking guys. All on the heights with 45s on the sides. It's sorta incredible the way I thought pattern does. It's sorta regrettable the way the courts batter us. So brothers be like, fuck it, that's the motto of the hood. Well, y'all excel in college, our job six is where it's wood. My father, he bailed, my mama left when I was a baby. I turned God body when I was 12, that's what saved me. By age 14, I bought my first whip machine. Trues and dollar bills, my new Impala wheels. And oh my God, I was that beast at making sales. And oh YAHSHUAH, I runs these streets like frickin' jails. I'm from Hempstead, what the fuck, you can't tell? It's down the street from death and round the corner from hell. But y'all can't tell.
And I'm swimming in this ghetto life, and I'm living in these ghetto streets. The system got me living that life, and they caught me when I can't dream. There's gotta be a better way to lie. There's gotta be a better way to be. Now I gotta be a friend tonight. There's gotta be the one who
Thank you. You can see me reacting, but you see no sound. I said, sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody. I said, I'm stopping the music once again. I said, what is wrong with you, fool? Why are you stopping the music? Then I said, I got to stop it, guys. I had to stop it because, it's giving me 1 bar. Now it's about to mess us up. Oh, 2 bars. Okay. Let's not act up. StreamYard. It's been messing me up lately. All right. So, yeah, I had to stop the song because I can't release. We live on YouTube and I can't play the whole entire song because I got to release it as a single. So, if someone has the whole entire song, then they got the song. So, what's the whole point of releasing it as a single, right? So just smart marketing and advertising. But I play enough, right? I play both verses and all that. Just couldn't give out the complete song. I was Ghetto Life. That was 2005. That was me back when I was in my sin and transgression, when my rap name was Lucky Luciano. You want to know why they call me Lucky Luce? They call me Luce because I like to tuck that tuche all the time. Yeah, that's when we was Palace Mob. But that song was right before I started the Platinum Palace record label and formed Palace Mob with me, E Banger, and Reynolds Rap. Yeah, that was that's a beautiful song. I honestly think it's one of my best vocal written songs because it's so real. It's literally what's going on, what was going on in our hood and the ghetto life and the things that we were living. And the second verse starts off talking about a lot of my brothers who died in my hood from Hempstead, Strong Island. All right. So, minimal, hopefully you guys had a blessed day. Welcome to Uncle YAHSHUAH 25 to Life Testimony TV, our live stream, where this live stream is where I tell the testimony, the story of my past life that led me to getting 15 to life in prison, going to the United States Supreme Court, getting beating that, but then getting a 25 to life. And not beating that, but getting a second chance at my life from the Most High. So, and this live stream is the place where I tell the testimonies of my life, that progression of going from the projects, the streets, to the proverbial pulpit, because now I'm a minister of the Most High. All right. So I'm a minister of the Most High. Yeah, you can. If he can do it, won't he do it? If he can change my butt to be a servant, to be able to serve the children of the Most High. I don't care what you call them. You know what I mean? Now, he does has a name, but this ain't the channel for that. But if you feel that there's a greater power greater than you, and it is calling you to do right by the next person, to live a righteous life, you see, holy, set apart, do the right next thing by your neighbor, right? And then that's the attributes of my Aliyah, of my creator. Okay. So if you believe you have no creator, you believe you created yourself, so be it. All right. Everybody, welcome to YAHSHUAH 25 to Life Testimony TV. All right. Tonight's story. I know some of y'all seen the thumbnail and y'all like, man, that thumbnail look crazy. Right? Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Phyllis Richards. Shout out to Ahana Yah, Yahakana, Yah, Delaware Yah. Shout out to everybody. Laura Yah, daughter of YAHSHUAH, Yavana, Kayana, YAHSHUAH. Shout out to the whole 25 to Life Testimony TV family in the building. As always, thank you guys for holding me down. All right, so that's what I was saying. This 25 to Life Live is where I tell my past life story, and my book. It's like a verbal writing of my book. So these are all chapters in my book of my life, and it's gonna go back from birth all the way up until the present day, when now I'm a minister. The last time in priesthood under the order of Melchizedek, a minister of the Most High. Okay, the Most High, Yah. Just so y'all know. All right, so it's the trials and tribulation and the story of how I went from there to here. All praise to the Most High. All right, let's go. Tonight's story, the thumbnail. The thumbnail said, Crazy Dave, Jamaica, Queens. 1990s New York City crack era. All right, what most of y'all don't know from that thumbnail, and y'all see that picture, right? Like, yeah, Crazy Dave. So, what most of y'all don't know from the thumbnail, that tonight's story is a continuation of the story about the one where it says they shot my grandma during the crack era. I mean, they killed my grandmother during the crack era. And when I told that story of they killed my grandmother, as I'm telling these stories, I don't know how long the story is going to take. So there was more pieces to the story that I had in that video, that live of the one of they told my grandmother. So I just stopped because we was at like 5 hours long or something. We did like 5-6 hours on that story, something crazy. So I stopped. So now I'm gonna get y'all caught up a little bit because this part was in that story. All right, I didn't get to complete it. All right, so now this was after the story I'm telling now with Crazy Dave was after they killed my grandma. Then I had already moved to Queens. So in that story, I told about my biological dad and his new wife turned my grandma against me and told her to put me out. And they moved her to an old folks home, a senior citizen center, and then they moved and went away to Maryland and left her in the senior citizen center with diabetes, and she has diabetes strokes, insulin. She needs insulin and sugar. They called it sugar diabetes back then. And so she had a insulin shock stroke, and then they gave her a nurse, and that nurse beat her to death. When we were still supposed to be living in Parkside Projects in Hempstead, Strong Island, if they would have left me alone. My biological dad and his new wife. He chose not to raise me, so why would you interfere in the only stability that I have? Because you wouldn't provide for me. You didn't want me, right? My biological earth mom, she didn't want me. But at least she went and just did her own thing. She didn't try to interfere in my life. But my biological dad chose to interfere in my life. And if it wasn't bad enough that he didn't choose to be in my life and raise me, he chose to make it even harder for me. So the only stability I had was his mom, my grandma, from Hempstead, Strong Island, and he chose to mess that up. So then I ended up homeless, and they took her and put her in a senior citizens home, and she ended up being beat to death. by a nurse's aide, by a nurse in that senior citizens home. I end up in that story I told you, I end up talking this lady in Jamaica, Queens on Farmers Boulevard. Shout out to Farmers Boulevard, Farmers in Linden, for those who know. All right up the street from Southside, Jamaica and all that. Take Linden straight up, you go right up into Southside. All right, so LL came from down that way. 50 Cent and them came from up that way, the rappers. All right, LL Cool J and them. All right, this is Queens, Jamaica, Queens. This is the early 90s. I mean, well, yeah, when I was, yeah, it's the very early 90s. So I talked this lady in Jamaica, Queens to actually give me an apartment because I didn't have no check stubs. I had no income. I had no work history. I had nothing. You know, I was a young man, right? And I basically a child, honestly. And I didn't have a work history. I was in the streets hustling. And I talked to the lady, and she, thanks to the Most High, she gave me a chance because I was sleeping in my car. And but I had a 500 SEL Mercedes Benz, a big silver one back then, because I was hustling before. But at that time, I had quit hustling with when they put my grandmother in the old folks home, and I started working for a day labor thing at Newsday, the newspaper in Melville, Long Island, Suffolk County. And but then we end up getting fired because, no disrespect, but the Haitians who ran it, they didn't like me and Dial X. They didn't like the blacks, so there was a little thing going on, and they ended up firing us. Dial got into it with one of them, and they fired us. So now I'm in Jamaica, Queens, Farmers Boulevard, Farmers in Linden, and I moved my child's mother, Pam, and our first child, Star. And so now my oldest daughter. So now we in Jamaica, Queens. But let me rewind. When I talked the lady into giving me a job, I was really struggling because I stopped hustling, and it was really hard. I didn't have any money from the little check that they give us. You know, this system doesn't pay you a decent wage, so I was really struggling, and I was contemplating going back to the streets because I needed to make sure that I can pay the rent for this apartment, because now I got my child and my child's mother in there. And even though I was a very, very young man, basically a child, I knew that I wanted to raise my child and not have the child be like me, not have a mom or a dad. I wanted my child to have a mom and a dad. So I was going to do everything I can to be there and provide for my baby girl. And by that time, did we have Rashawn? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Rashawn was born yet, but I think he might have was. I think he was a baby, a real small baby. Because, I got to go back and tell that story when I used to live in Cambria Heights, Queens. This was earlier, when me and Granddaddy IU. Okay, so I'll do that another time. Go back, R.I.P. to Granddaddy IU, the rapper. All right. So I move. So when you move to another neighborhood, this is New York City in the early 90s, during the height of the crack era. The crack era is in full effect. There's money everywhere, crack everywhere, and danger everywhere. So if you move somewhere, 9 times out of 10, you're going to move into somebody's territory. I wasn't thinking of that when I moved, when I tried to get my apartment in Queens. I wasn't thinking of that. I I always liked living in Queens and Brooklyn because the the police system and the court, the justice system in Nassau County, Strong Island, where my projects is from, my hood, was one in the 90s was one of the worst criminal justice systems in the country. In the country, I can't speak for the world. In the country, it had the number one conviction rate for over 30 years in the United States of America, meaning convicting criminals. It had a system of arrest you, violate your rights, torture you mentally, physically, and spiritually until you take a cop-out plea and be convicted. Shout out to Q Dog in the building. Until you take a cop-out plea and get convicted. So everyone, if no matter what you get arrested for, 9 times out of 10, you're going to plead guilty when you didn't even do it, even if you was innocent, because they're going to torture you in the system with a thing called bullpen therapy and holding you back from court and just manipulating you and torturing you in the jail system. It was known. 30 years, number one conviction rate. Not a place you wanna not a place you want to be arrested at. Not a place you want to, okay, this is a better way. Not a place you want to be a young black man at. Not during the 90s. Now later, they started to hire more black cops from the neighborhood, and it got a little better because now we had some of our so-called black people who went to our hood, Hempstead High School and stuff. I'm talking for Hempstead, but the whole Nassau County, Roosevelt, Freeport, Westbury, Long Beach, these are all neighborhoods in this part of Long Island, Nassau County, right by Queens, borderline with Queens. And Suffolk County, where Rakim and Bismarcky and EPMD and all them, these rappers, they from Suffolk County. Is far. Let's say if Long Island is this big, Nassau County is right here. Suffolk County is way out here, is this big, and Queens is right here, and Brooklyn is right here. So Nassau County, Queens, and Brooklyn are right here. And Suffolk County, the other eastern end of Long Island, is way as big, huge. Okay? So Q Dog said, that's why I sold my Q45. It was too much drama. Yeah, I'm quite sure they was pulling you over whenever they can get a chance. Yeah, Q Dog had a burgundy Q45 back then. And he knows what I'm talking about in Queens because he was coming to see me. And when I was living on Farmers Boulevard in Queens, the same story I'm telling, he was coming to see me back then. Shout out to Louis V in the building. One of our day ones at 25 to life. One love, Louis V. Gym Pop, Connecticut in the building, Louis V. All right. So Q Dog used to always come see me on Farmers Boulevard, right? When we no, not an Audi Q45. That's way before. There was no such thing as an Audi Q45 in the 90s. This is an Infiniti Q45. So you know what Infinities do they make now? The Infiniti, they make the trucks, the G's. They used to make the M. So back then, the Q45 Infiniti and the Lexus, the Lexus SC 400, the Lex Coupe, Beamer, and the Benz from the Lost Boys, and the Lexus GS 300 or the LS 400. But yeah, the Q45s. Oh, they still make Qs? I didn't know that. They probably really expensive. But yeah, the Q45 was banging in the hood back then. My bro Q Dog, he had a burgundy one with a crazy system. So I know they was pulling you over every chance they got, Q. But he used to come see me at this spot I'm talking about right here, Farmers Boulevard in Queens during the crack era. All right. So now the and the Lex 350, Lex 450, Lex Coupe. All right. So now, back in the 90s, anywhere that you would go, 9 times out of 10, unless you move into some white neighborhood or some rich neighborhood, you're going to be moving into somebody's hood. But I wasn't thinking about that when I was homeless. I just needed a place to stay. And I always liked to live in Queens and Brooklyn because I didn't like like I said, the justice system in Nassau County was mad foul. It was horrible, bro. The cops, it was like Mississippi racism, meaning the police system was all white at that time, like 99% white, and they were the same police that was patrolling Brooklyn and Queens during the crack era was the same police. They used to live out in the suburbs on Long Island. So they know nothing about black ghetto project life. So they'll come from the suburbs out in Eastern Long Island, right, or Massapequa, and be these Italian mafia neighborhoods and stuff like that, right, Levittown and all that stuff, and then they would come and patrol our hood in the projects. So they have no idea about black life and culture. Back then, it was very racist. They seen us as Iggers. It was like slavery time. So, so just to get pulled over, as y'all know in the early stories on these channels, guns was in my mouth, people, they hands shaking on the trigger, all that. I mean, just everything that you can imagine. It was horrible, bro. It was really not okay, honestly. It's now when I look back, there's so much trauma that the state troopers, oh my goodness. Then they got the police, the highway police, state troopers, New York state troopers, that blue and gold car, right? Oh my goodness, bro. So anyway, so anybody from the 90s in New York City from the crack era know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So I always like to live in Queens and Brooklyn, right? So whenever, like once I got put out and I was homeless, I'm moving to Queens. I'm going to Queens or Brooklyn. So I found a spot in Queens. So I talked the lady into letting me live there, right? Now, as I said, I had the silver 500 SEL big body Benz Mercedes. I should have put the picture up, but that's okay. I had it up last time, right? So, but at this time, I'm not hustling. I'm working at this job. This little day thing, this little, not day labor, but this little temp agency type of job, right? And because, I stopped hustling because my biological dad and his new mom told me, you need to stop hustling. You got a daughter and you need to do what's right. And I did everything they say. And then they talked my grandmother into kicking me out and made me homeless. Now I ain't got no money to even live nowhere. They really jammed me up. So, all right, let's go with the story. So, I talked to the lady on Farmers Boulevard. She gave me the apartment. I'm so thankful, right? I'm like, yes, okay. So now she gave me a sleeping bag and a heater to sleep on the floor because it was wintertime in New York City, and it was cold and I had nothing. All I had is clothes because I lost everything when they put me out the projects from the other story. To catch up on this story, you have to go back to on the live on our channel. They killed my grandmother during the crack era. That video. So I slept on a sleeping bag and a heater. Now, unbeknownst to me, I wasn't thinking about it, wasn't caring, but really wasn't thinking about it. I was so happy to have a place to live. I never thought twice to think you probably moving into somebody's neighborhood. You see, you moving into somebody's block. And I found that street, I found that house off a newspaper thing or something, article, right? So, it is what it is, right? I'm from New York. I'm from the projects. We, with that old New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere in old New York, right? Frank Sinatra, right? I'm Frank Sinatra in the hood. You know what I mean? We can go anywhere and make it. Once you from the hood, you from the hood, right? And once you from no matter, right? So ain't no matter. And especially back then in the 80s and 90s, they said in New York, you can make it anywhere because it was so crazy. The murder rate and everything was insane. It was just crazy during the crack era. It was just night of the living dead, right? So, I ain't even, honestly, I didn't even think about it. guys. I didn't even think about it. It never crossed my mind twice. Especially because the block, see, certain parts of Queens and Long Island, they have houses, right? There's houses. Like where I'm from in Strong Island, there's a hood called the Heights, and mostly it's houses. They got some project buildings like the 600s and stuff like that, but the were turned into projects. It wasn't the 600 wasn't initially projects. It's a project now, but they got some project buildings, right? But mostly it's houses, right? That's how Roosevelt is. Roosevelt, Long Island, I think it's all houses. I don't think Roosevelt got any projects at all. Freeport got 1 or 2 projects. But if you go out there, let me tell you something. You take your little monkey butt out there, thinking you in the suburbs, or, oh, it's houses, ain't no projects. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. It is the hood. You heard? You gonna get laid. You gonna get done for. Cause I don't know how they got houses. I don't know how that works. I never live in the house. I'm from the projects. All right. Now, so the street that I lived on, I moved on in Farmers in Linden. It looked really nice. It was houses, right? Not nice like rich people, but it was nice compared to me coming from the project. So I ain't thinking nothing of it. You know what I mean? And it was a short street, and then it had so Farmers Boulevard is a main strip throughway, go all the way through this part of Queens. I'm not sure if it's going east or west or north or south. I'm not, well, okay, I can figure it out. So I'm on Farmers, south side. Okay, north. So it's going east to west. There you go. Up, south, north. It's going west to, well, east to west, both ways. Sorry. I was thinking that way is west. So it's going east to west, Farmers Boulevard. And it's a famous block in Jamaica, Queens. Famous. LL Cool J, if you watch some of his run, he always said Farmers Boulevard, right? And y'all might have heard of Linden Boulevard. If you've heard of Tribe Called Quest, he said back in the days on Linden Boulevard in Queens, right? So these are famous streets in New York City and hip hop and stuff, right? And all right, so most of y'all have heard of Southside Jamaica, Queens because of the rapper 50 Cent and Supreme Team and all of that. And right there on Linden where I am, you just drive up a little bit, you're right in Southside, okay? All right, so now, and if you take Linden right where I was at Farmers, you go right up to the next block. I think that's you're on Merrick, and right there is where Ja Rule lived in those little apartment, small little projects right there, those little towers. I think it's called American Towers or something like that. And then you keep going over, you go right into Southside. Okay, so now the main strip was Farmers Boulevard, and it went straight. It's big important block. You go that way, you go into the highway to go to Brooklyn and stuff. Get on the Belt Parkway, going that way. You're in the other part of Queens, going all the way back. It's just huge, right? So Farmers go this way, and my little street was here, but it was a short street. And then they have another street. It was called a road. They have another street, an avenue that go way all the way down from Queens all the way to Long Island, and then you have your other streets or whatever, all the way back and forth. So my street was a little short street, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 15 houses on both sides. And then when you go down my street like this, then it's another long street this way that cut across. So it's like a short street, but Farmers is here, and then the back block is here. But some houses across that. So my street is short from here to here. So the lady, she lived right in the middle. The house the Haitian lady allowed me to live in her house, to rent her house. So yeah, the Crown Chicken spot on Merrick, you dog said, Merrick Boulevard. So we and that's where what's her name, Nicki Minaj, all these a lot of the famous rappers that y'all heard of come from these places I'm naming right now. They all come from right there. They put those in there. They say it in their songs, right? So, all right. So we the house, the lady's house that I was renting lived right in the middle of the block. All right. So the first night I got the house, right? She gave me the crib. She gave me the key. You know what I mean? I was so thankful for the Most High that He allowed me to live. I didn't know God then, but I'm thankful now, right? So I was just, I guess, thankful to whatever myself or something because I didn't believe in God back then, right? So I ain't believe in the Most High, right? All right. So she gave me a heater and she gave me a sleeping bag and I slept on the floor that first night. Now after that, when I woke up, my plan was to go back to Strong Island, go get my baby mama and my baby and bring them back. And, you know, let her out. She already told her and everything. So she's getting her stuff together to move. She happy now we can live together. You know what I mean? Again, and all of that. And we got a place. So now now remember, I got this big 500 SEL silver big body Benz, like a car that would get you killed during the crack era. Let me explain something to you. During the crack era, it was a lot of money and it was a lot of killing. Okay, this is the time of Rich Porter, Alpo, Supreme Team, and them, Preacher, all these people that they tell these stories about from the crack era in the 90s. What I'm trying to explain to you and paint the picture is that I was there. This is that time that they are all out. These homicidal maniacs, these killers, and their crew, Supreme Prince and them. I mean, you got so many. You got Supreme Magnetic in them from Brooklyn. I mean, you just the amount. You got what's the name in them from Harlem, the Yellow Top crew in them. What's it? The Lynch Mob. I mean, you got crews everywhere. Like everywhere you go, there's a crew because there's money everywhere you go. I need to paint the picture to you guys of what's going on during this crack era. There is so much crackheads. Every other person is a crackhead. Understand? It took over cocaine, heroin, weed, crack hit our hood like the most, I can't even, like the most damaging demon to ever exist. It was a spirit within it that made it just incapacitate, just totally destroy a whole community in existence. Okay? Now, this crack flooded. Crack didn't confine itself to the projects. It had no boundaries. It went where it wanted to. So no matter where you went during the late 80s and the early 90s, crack had an impact. Whether it was your next door neighbor who was Miss Johnson, who was a school teacher or worked at the post office or worked in the lawyer's office, she now cracked out, talking about she'll give you a blowjob for $5. Or it was the old lady or the old man who's now a crack, I mean, to the point where they look like zombies. They didn't even look like human beings. They weighed 65 pounds, skin and bones, scratching, hair falling out, teeth falling out, blotches of hair, scratching and shaking, and like in the daytime, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, you get 7 in the morning, you're trying to go to school. You got something? I got this for sale. They're trying to sell you a doggone magnifying glass. I got a magnifying glass. Just give me $5. It's funny, but it's not funny. It took the hood. It took New York City over to every other person. I mean, it was either you was making money off it, or you was abused by, or you was abused by the violence from the crackheads wanting it that would do anything to get it, or you was trying to run from it and stay shielded from it, or you was getting in the crosshairs of the violence for the people that was selling it and the people that was coming to try to still take it from them, or from the police who they were selling it themselves. Back then, the police had people working for them. They would take drugs. They would get a bus from people, right? Bus a organization or somebody, and they would catch you and take all your drugs, lock you up in jail, then take the drugs and give it to one of their and put it back on the streets to sell so they can make money. The majority. There was a minority, of course, of good cops, always. Shout out to the good cops. We need y'all. Shout out to the good police. So they would have their own organizations, and they would bust people like it was different levels to it. Everybody was dirty. That money was institutional money. That money was in the billions, and it funded the criminal justice system, and it just decimated the people of the book. I mean, y'all can't even imagine. So the money that could be made and the problems that could come with it was so exponential. I really can't explain it to you in its fullness, because you really had to be living it and be there. Shout out to Ra Napier over on Facebook. Shout out to Ra. One love, Ra. So what I'm saying is, depending on your lifestyle and the places that you went, depended on, and just pure, I guess, chance or luck, if you believe in that. I believe in destiny. Negotiated your chance of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, this present, share screen, window, share. I went and found it because it'll do better for me to have visuals. So this is my car back there. All right? But it was more like this color right here. More like this silver color. But you see how long this is? Look like a doggone long limousine. This is the 500 SEL back then. See this? This is what I was driving in. All silver, but these rims, but they were chrome and they were deep dish hammers. These the AMG hammers. And I was skinny and looking. If I look 28, 30 now, this 30 years ago, this more. Imagine what I look like then. If I shave all my stuff off right now, I look 25. So imagine what I look like then, driving this in the crack era. And as I showed on the other ones, I ain't about to pull these up now. I don't feel it. I was wearing all these big ice, Cartiers, or whatever, watches, big Gucci link chains and big ropes, and getting out of this. Anybody who lived that era, who understand that era, and you showed them that you was driving this, and you showed them pictures of you wearing big Chuck jewelry, they gonna tell you, oh yeah, you had to hold that down. Oh, you had to hold that down. Because no matter where you go, they was coming for you. They coming, stick up kids, whatever. You gonna have to hold that down. I'm painting that because I'm moving to a new block in a new hood, and I'm not even thinking about it. And I'm driving this thing on the screen in silver. during the crack era. And it's one of the hottest things out. So I go, I tell my girl and everything, my baby mama, we move, we about to go to Queens. So we come, we do everything. We pack up all her stuff, right, for the first round, because we got to come back and forth and back and forth. It's like a 15-minute drive from Queens back to Hempstead at night on no on the parkway, no traffic. It's like a 15-minute drive, right? 10 minutes on the highway, 5 minutes. She lived on back there where Prodigy from Mobb Deep came from in Hempstead. That's where my baby mama's from, right in his neighborhood where his grandma, where he grew up. Prodigy from Mobb Deep. So that's like 15 minutes from this part, Farmers Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens, to Hempstead, where I'm going. So we got to go back and forth. So we get the first round. It's by like 7 something at night, so it did turn dark. Cars packed up. We get there. We pull up. They all excited because she's never seen the place yet. So we pull to the street, and she like, oh, this is a cute street. And she's like, which house? I'm like, that yellow one right there. She's like, oh my goodness, she's like, I don't know what she expects. She might have thought we was going to be some crackhead type of house or something, because I ain't had no money. But I guess the Most High blessed me with a decent looking house, right? And the block looked decent. So we pull up, we pull this big boy up, we get out, and we start taking the stuff in and out, right? So we taking the stuff in and out, and I'm not thinking nothing. So we take everything in the house. She bought all this stuff like the spoons and bowls and kitchens, like, she putting food in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? She bought her comforters and stuff because we don't got no furniture. We're going to sleep on the floor, right? So she bought layers of comforters and stuff for us to cushion the floor, right? But we happy we got some place to live, right? So we do all that. She get all set up. So then we like, dang, we needed something. I needed to go to the grocery supermarket because we needed juice and we needed stuff for the refrigerator. So she wrote out a big list, and she like, all right, you go get the stuff. I'm going to just clean up and I'm going to set everything up. So I'm like, all right. And this feels so good, bro, because I was homeless. So I give her a kiss, and then I leave out. Time to go get the groceries. So I come out, and when I come out, now every time I come out the house, we live in a basement apartment. Q-Dog know what I'm talking about. He been there plenty times. You walk through the driveway, and you come around the back, and then that's my door, and you go downstairs to my basement apartment. So when I come out the back, I come around the back and come out kind of like it would have been. It's like a driveway, but they have no garage, right? It's to their backyard. And as soon as I turn from around the house, I could see my big silver long 500 parked across, because I parked it where I could see. I try to park it. This is a New York thing. I probably still now, but definitely during in the 90s. You have to you have to watch your car, because they break in. They break in your car, like your car either will get the whole car get stolen if you got rims and you ain't your rim, like, or they'll bust your wind, like your car is gonna get vandalized. So you have to literally park your car and watch it at all times. I grew up watching my car. Every 10 minutes I go out, because I always had these type of cars, and looking. So I parked this where from my basement window, I can pull the little basement slat and stick my head out, and I can see it. Because about every half an hour, you need to look and make sure your car's all right. Okay? And in between that half an hour, you could get caught out there, just so you know. This just was the life I lived. Every car that I've ever had got broken into. And y'all gonna hear those stories on these channels. One time they almost got me good. I don't want to give it away. That was in my Fendi Audi. my Audi that was Fendi lace, Audi 5000, right? I ain't gonna give that story away. All right. And that was Christmas Day. So anyway, now, so when I come from my backyard, all I can see is my silver, the big boy. And that was my pride and joy because, as I said in the other story, my parents ain't want me. Nobody wanted me. So I felt like I had no self-worth. But the Most High blessed me to have these material objects like this big Mercedes, and it made me feel like I was worth something. You see what I mean? Because not having nobody love me, like no parents, these spirits, these demons will make you feel like you're not worthy being loved and you're nobody. So I was blessed to be able to have this vehicle or these vehicles, and made me feel like a sense of self-worth. Shout out to Jess in the building. Shout out to Jess. Yo, what's good, Jess? What's good, Jess? R.I.P. to our brother Rome, Jess. That's Jesse and Jerome. Y'all remember that story? Shout out to Jess. He said, show the green and white Buick. I showed it on the last one, Jess. Let me see if I can find it real quick, just for you. Is it in this? It was on the last one. I don't know where I put it, though. I put it somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Maybe I put it in. I don't know where I put it, Jess. I wish I had it. I could just pop it up really quick for you. It's in one of these folders. I got mad folders. I don't know if I put it in my upbringing. Oh, it's one in my upbringing. I know where one is at, Jess. Right here. There you go. I got you, Jess. Look at this. Now, unfortunately, Jess, this is not the picture of the car. It's a remake. Meaning I drew it. Me and this person that knew how to work the drawing program, I made him draw it to spec, exactly what it looked like. All right, so how do I do it? Stop share. I'm doing this just for my boy Jesse. Y'all give me a second, guys. Give me a second. All right, so where is it? Here. Y'all seen it before, but let me show them. All right, present. This is one of the most famous cars that I had in the 80s. This when we was in 98 posse. There you go, Jess. That's the Mac, the green and white joint. So I had someone draw it. Look just like this. And those are gangster white wall tires on it. And this had Mac Daddy, had chrome at the bottom. These were white letters that said Mac Daddy. And that's the green opera lights, the green that lit up at night, the white leather roof with the block out window, with the limousine block out window in the back, with the tire on the back, Jess, with the chrome snaps around it, with the chrome running boards. I tried to bit the running boards too, Jess. That was the most famous 98 right there. In the 80s. This one was the 98 posse. So a lot of people grew up on this car. That's the best I got, Jess. I got one picture of it, but it was before it was finished. But I'll show that I show that in my documentary. I got a movie coming, Jess, about our upbringing. And I showed the actual picture of it, but it was way before I finished fixing it, hooking it up. But this is how it looked when it was completely done and finished. And it was a pretty lime green, guys, and had all white leather interior. All white interior and white. And this stripe wasn't supposed to look like that, but the dude messed it up. That was hilarious. He gave me a big Shazam stripe. It looked like Shazam! It was supposed to look like Kenneth, dude, Jess. So you remember Kenneth Burgundy one? R.I.P. to Kenneth. I did a story last week. Remember Kenneth Burgundy one, right? And he had the gold two-tone, and then in between the gold, it was like a fade in between that made the burgundy fade with the gold. So this was supposed to be the same white, and then the green, the fade would have the green fading. But the dude ain't know how to do what I said, and he made these two stripes. It looked like I went to see my car, like, what? So most people think I meant it to look like this. I did not mean it to look like that, guys. It was supposed to look like Kenneth White joint, Kenneth Burgundy joint with the gold. So it's supposed to be white. This whole thing's supposed to be a white fade, and then the green fade into the white. It would have been beautiful. But he didn't do it. He didn't know how to do it. But I finished, I'm like, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But it was still hot to death. But yeah, I did not plan on having these looking lightning bolts going down the side. It wasn't supposed to be lightning bolts. I think this is my first time letting people know that, because that's funny. I know a lot of people think I wanted it to be lightning bolts, but I didn't. All right, shout out to Jess in the building. All right. No, that's not a Beamer. This is the 98. So 98's YAHSHUAH are Oldsmobiles. So, but this one is an actual Buick Electra 225. So 98 is an Oldsmobile. It's called an Oldsmobile 98. So you could just Google why 19. Dag, I forgot what year these was. I forgot what year these cars was. I don't remember now. Just probably know. I forgot what year our 98s were. I don't remember. Dag, that's funny. I don't know. Were they 83s, 84s? I don't remember. So anyway, there were Oldsmobile 98s. There were Buick Park Avenues, right? There were Buick Electra 225s. There were Oldsmobile Delta 88s. All of these were square like this, and they all look similar. Thank you, Jess. Jess said they was like 84, 85. Thank you, Jess. And they also, if you had any of those models and you hooked it up, it was a 98. Everybody was like, you was part of the 98 posse, and you had one of these. I remember Jess got his car game on back then too. He was a young one who came up right under us. He was the young 98 posse coming up under us, right? So as long as you had one of these, so I had two. I had a silver Delta 88, and then I had this one. This one was actually Electra 225 Buick. And Biz was a Park Ave. Kenneth was a 98. Like we had a whole bunch of, right? So, and even Eldridge, he had an Eldorado cat. So anything, if you had one back then, you could ride as long as it was hooked up and you was official, right? Yep, Jess said I was right up under y'all. Facts. All right, shout out to Jess in the building. All right, so let me stop share. Let me get back to the story, guys. I just had to do that for one of my day ones in the building. All right, so let me put the picture of my Benz back on the Benz I had back on the screen. Present, share screen. Window, share. All right. So now, guys, I'm not like I said, I'm not even realizing I'm moving in somebody's hood. And I'm not thinking because the neighborhood looks all nice or whatever. And so I go to the store. So I actually go, so at this part on Farmers Boulevard, dang, I can't remember the name of the supermarket now. It's orange. What was it called? It's probably still there. It's these big orange supermarkets. What is it called? Oh, I can't think of it. So it's right on Farmers and Springfield, I think. No, Farmers and something. Because it's not Linden, that's the other way. So, but in between Farmers and Linden and Farmers, the main, I think it's Springfield Gardens, I think. So it's this big orange supermarket called something. So I went up the street and I go to the supermarket. Right? So I come back. Now I come back. Western beef. Thank you, Q Dog. That's what it's called. Thank you, Q Dog. I'm quite sure you might have stopped there a couple of times coming from my house in Queens. Western beef. A big orange thing. It's the Western beef. All right? That's it, Q Dog. I would have never remembered that. All right. So I went up the Western beef, right? On Farmers Boulevard. Bang. So, you know, and guys, this the crack era. Nah, Western beef, Larry, yeah. This the crack era. So if you pull up back then and you in a big 500 Mercedes, you getting out with chains on, people looking at you. You can get caught out there too. You see a bunch of dudes, they could be just walking up the street. They look like, and I look all young. So guys, I was always holding. I mean, I kept strapped because another time I kept two. I used to be a two-gun toter. I'm not promoting gun violence. I'm promoting gun ownership. I'm promoting get you a gun. Well, in New York, I don't think you can do it, but in other states, get you a gun license, go train, and get you some, you got the right to bear arms. I am promoting the right to bear arms. I am, okay? Because even the scriptures say that. You heard? Prepare yourself. Mashiach says, sell your shirt and get a sword. All right? Now, sell your coat and get you a sword, the Messiah. All right, so now, what I'm saying is, but I'm not promoting illegal gun ownership or none of that. All right, I'm not promoting you to do no crime or none of that. But I was living that life back then, all right? And I ended up getting locked up for the life I was living. So I'm not promoting none of that. But I kept a ratchet at all times because I stayed heavy. Right? Jesse went through his thing when Jesse's getting heavy, getting his money, driving his whip, staying heavy. I'm sure he was toting ratchets too, right? So I kept a ratchet because I'm heavy. You heard? I'm getting out this car, you know what I mean? Facts. Yeah, Four Corners. That, come on, Q. I forgot Q Dog was there. That part where the Western Beef at, that's Four Corners. That's actually a famous block in Jamaica, Queens. Four Corners. All right? And I seen some people on these big channels, these street storytelling, telling stories of the 90s. That's where I need to put this in another one of my stories, where the Furtado brothers and certain of these big kingpins and stuff had some real strong foundation at Four Corners, and it was right there at that Western Beef. Facts, Q Dog. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody know from Jamaica, Queens, and you know if you was out there in the 90s and you was really, in certain areas, you know what we talking about. All right. So now you wasn't catching me dead without a ratchet. You understand? Because you could get caught out there. I mean, going to the store, going to the movies with your girl, going anywhere. If you was heavy, if you wearing some heavy and you driving something like what's on the screen, oh, you better be holding. You get caught out there. Trust me on that. Plenty times. So anyway, I ain't tell those stories yet. Wait till I go back. All right. So now I'm staying heavy no matter what. So I get out, and plus, the Most High gifted me with a look of don't F with me. I got, I had the gift of that New York don't F with me look. You know what I mean? Where it's in the eyes, it's in the demeanor, it's in the aura, right? Where people will double second guess. Even though I wasn't, big like I am now, you know what I mean? I wasn't 220 pounds, 6'1". I was 160 pounds, 5'11", right? I was skinny. You know what I mean? I was cut up, but I wasn't something where they'd be like, oh, big man. Wasn't no big man. You know what I mean? Because if you got that big man thing going on, people are second guess because of that. But if you a little skinny looking young dude and they don't know you, oh, you're food. You better have that don't F with me aura energy going on, or you're going to get tried and I'm all through Brooklyn and I'll tell you, I was living in Brooklyn and Queens. I'll go back. I'll let y'all know. I'll tell these stories. Right now I'm in the Queens story. Crack era. So I stay holding. You tripping. You're going to get caught out there. You coming for me. I'm glad you know. I was like, just facts. Because you sleeping. You thinking, you sleeping. I was a little different. This is how I was. You know how I was? When I'm somewhere at a store or something, I'm doing something, and some big Mercedes, a BMW 745 or 645, or one of the drop top Saabs, or like in certain cars during the crack era, like, these cars, right, somebody pull up in a Lexus coupe or a Q45 or something, system crazy, and a little skinny dude jump out with a bunch of big chains on. My mentality was, this dude gotta be somebody. I mean, there's no way he walking around in anywhere in New York in the early 90s wearing that, driving that, and he ain't got some type of official stuff going on. He gotta be holding that down. Otherwise, he'd be dead already. They've been and laid him down. So I was never quick to be boo-boo the fool and just jump. That's why I used to say, be careful you better be careful who you approach. You never know who you messing with, right? And there's plenty of people almost lost their life because of that stupidness, right? Of reacting because they think they see something. You better slow down and observe first, because you'd be a fool to think that person ain't holding himself down unless he just, I don't know, lucky running around here. All right, and that'll run out. So anyway, let me get to the story. So I go to Western Beef, bang. Like Q Dog said, it's in Four Corners, dudes and so whatever. People in there like, real tech real, right? It's like, yeah, whatever. I ain't trying to start nothing, but don't start nothing, won't be nothing, right? Niggas like, what up? Yo, what up? It is what it is, right? So now, and back then I got big Fendi coats on with a universal flag, God body and all that, right? I'm wearing everything. I'm Gucci, Fendi, MCM, Louis Vuitton, big coats, big chains, starter jackets, all that. We wear like it's on and popping. Facts, right? Everybody know. My day ones are here. I can't be telling y'all this story, and I got New Yorkers here. Ain't no way in the world Jesse gonna sit up here and let me tell some fugazi story of Q Dog and sit up here telling they're gonna be like, you know what, we out of here. Right up there lying, lying to people on YouTube, right? My New Yorkers would come in here and roast me if I was up here lying. Ain't nobody capping for your lies here. All right, they was here though. They was there. They seen it. So and I got receipts anyway. But the best receipt are human receipts. The best receipts are people who are actually there and they got their own stories about stuff. You see Q Dog helping me out. They both helped me. Just told me the cars with 80. Q said Western Beef, remind me, Four Corners and all that, right? Now, let me continue. So I come out of the Western Beef, bang. I drive back to the new spot. I'm happy. Drive up Farmers. I'm like, oh, thank you. Well, I ain't thanking God. I didn't know God, but it's kind of like thanking God without knowing him, right? So I'm like, thank you, man. I'm so happy I'm not homeless no more. So you come up Farmers, and I turn on the block. Now, when I come up Farmers, when you turn onto my block, there's bushes. So the house that's on, shout out to Lamont in the building, another day one, New York, Strong Island. When I turned, so the house that's on the corner of my corner, I lived on 119th, right? 119th. I don't want to tell you exactly where because the crazy Dave might steal the story. Remember, I got to be careful. I don't know if people still live there or people still alive or what people are doing. So I ain't about to give, right? So anyway, 119th, right? I ain't going to tell you what, because there's other stuff. There's other 119s. So when you turn onto my block from Farmers, the house that was on that corner, it had a big privacy bushes, big bushes. So the bushes went down Farmers and then it turned to the side of the house down my block. So when you turn from Farmers onto my block to go up like this, there's bushes, and then there's a house. After the bushes stop, there's a house right there. And then there's one or two more houses here, and then my house is right there. So I would park my car right past the bushes, right where the bushes end, where that first house starts, and then my house is straight across, so that I can see my bins from my basement window. Like I said, I can open my basement window and look out and check on my bins every 10 to 15 minutes while we at home, right? Make sure ain't nobody trying to bust it in and steal my radio and all that crazy stuff, right? Even though you got an alarm and all that, you still got to check your car, all right? There's still a whole car. If you you got to check your car, all right? So, I'm drawing it so y'all can have the scenario. So I turn the corner, and I'm happy. So I'm not thinking, right? I got the groceries. I'm just happy. I turn the corner, and I pull up, and I stop the car. So when I stop the car, I open the door. And when I open the door, I get out and I got to go to the back. I'm in this car right here, but it's silver, the one on the screen. I open the back and I hear something. And I look up. But there's bushes right there. Big privacy bushes, so it's a house on the other side of it, but I don't know how thick the bushes is. I'm new to this neighborhood. So I just hear something go, and I look. And I'm looking at the bushes, and I'm like, man, it could be a raccoon or something. You know what I mean? But it could be a wild dog or something. You know what I mean? So I'm like, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just see like a figure and it just came out the bushes. And I like, it came so fast, it just made me jump. I don't know. Now I know how, because later that house that lived there, that was crackhead Rich. And he ended up being my mechanic, right? Because, once I move into a hood, I get to know, that's how I am. I find a mechanic, I find a dude who could work on stuff so later it became my hood, right? But, I lived there, right? So I lived there for years. But at that point, I don't know. So now I know he had to come through Rich's yard from the front side of Farmers Boulevard, come through his yard to be at this part because the bushes was there and come through. He could see through the bushes and come through it and like walk through it, the sticks and all that stuff, right? So no, that's not the mechanic that cut my finger off. No, that wasn't my friend. but that's that same story. That same house. Yes, Wyatt. So when I got my finger cut off, right? This one, that story with me and Little Ra and I was running, that mechanic, that's up the street. That's up Farmers. We were running to the same house, but this is after this story. I've been living there. When that happened, I was living there for a while, maybe a couple of years or so, right? But this that same house. So you're in the right place, Wyatt. So now, but this, I'm telling you now, this when I first moved in. This the second night I'm going to sleep there. So all of a sudden, I hear the bushes move, and then I look and I'm like it's a dog maybe or a raccoon, and all of a sudden it was like, and it scared me. It made me jump. It was like a scary movie, guy. It was like somebody came out of the bushes, like they wasn't even like it looked like he just came out of nowhere, like, and it was just like, and I was like, and I jumped. Shout out to my brother Kevin McCullough, my big brother. Love you, Kev. And I jumped, and it was like, okay, so the dude was like 6 foot, maybe 6'2", about 280 pounds, like kind of fat, right? You know, one of those dudes with a belly. Okay, let me describe him a little bit, and then I'll go back. This was crazy day. All right? This is Farmers Boulevard, Jamaica, Queens, during the crack era. I don't know this dude. I moved into this hood. My stupid butt wasn't thinking, you probably moving into somebody's hood, bro. Keep your head on swivel. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just so happy to get a spot. And I was careless anyway. I was running around with ratchets, and it is what it was. You know what I mean? But I definitely should have been thinking smarter that I'm living in somebody's hood. So I'm going to give you the image of him. He's like 6'2" or so, like about 280 pounds, kind of jolly. You know those dudes, they got a belly. You always got one of them in the hood. They not fat, but they got a belly, and they like jolly, and they be like, yo man, they loud, they extra, they all like this, yo, and they funny, and they like big Troy or Big Dave or big. Shout out to Stephen Brown in the building. Peace to Stephen Brown over on Facebook. It's like big something, and they kind of jolly, but they loud. They always make people laugh. They always eating something. But they crazy. But they about it. They always into something. Yeah, y'all know what I mean? They always into something. Like just noisy, always into something. One of those, right? So anyway, so this figure come out of the bushes, and the way it came out of the bushes was so hyper. It was just like it just and it made me jump, and I just see this dude. He was like, "Yo, my G, yo, my G." I'm like, yo, I swear, God, this thing caught me out there. I didn't know what to do. It was like, I was looking for a wild dog. I got a wild beast. This dude, he jumped out. He's like, "Yo, my dude, yo, my legs." And I was like, so I jumped back, and I'm like, what? First of all, I had to figure out, like, what am I looking at? Because he was flinching. He was like moving all fast and just all crazy. And I was like, so I jumped back, right? I jumped back, and I didn't even know what to do. Because he kept talking. He was just like, yo, that Benzo, nice Benzo. Yeah, I heard you're official. You think you're official? You move my block. You say, Harris, 192. He's like, you my block. Oh, Benzo. Yeah, he told me. Yeah, you're official. Showing out. You for Showing Island. You know that? I was like, I didn't know what to do, say. So I'm sitting there, right? And he's he's talking, right? It's like he's talking to me, but he's talking to himself. But then he look up the street, and then he talk about something. Then he point. You know, yeah, 119, farmers. I'm just like, what in the hell? I don't even know what to do, right? So he and he's talking, and as he's talking, he's looking at the car. He's like, yeah, big Benzo, 500, yeah, chrome hammers, right? And I'm just like, what the? So then he starts to come around the car, right? And I'm like, I start to back up. My back door is open. I got the groceries. I start to back up. He's like, yeah. Who me? Crazy Dave, Queens, South Side, Jamaica, Queens, and building. I'm like, so he started coming and said, yeah, you official. He said, yeah, come touch your official. And he started, and then this fool, he comes around the car, and I'm looking at him, and I don't even know what to do, right? So I'm looking at him, and I'm backing up. And then as he's talking, he's coming around the car, then he looks over here, he's pointing over here, he's saying stuff over here, doing this, and he said, I come to touch you. And he starts to rush. He starts to just run me. Run. And I don't know what to do. I swear to y'all, this dude caught me off. I don't know what to do, right? So he's doing so much chaotic stuff. And then he said, I come to attack you or rush you or something. And then he just started running at me. And I don't know what to do. I'm like, I just turned around and stuff. I didn't know what to do. I just started running. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do, guys. I was like, I don't even know what's happening. So I turned around and started running. So this is the funny. Now my door to my car is open with the groceries. I turn around and I start running, and he started chasing me. So now I got this crazy fat. He looked like a black Santa Claus, right? And he chasing me up our street, and I don't even know why I'm running. I'm like, so I'm running. I'm like, yo, bro, who are you? And he's like, stop, crazy Dave. Yo, you on the block? Yeah, that's your G. I thought you gangster. I'm like, stop chasing me. So I'm running, and he's trying to catch me, but he's talking and acting all crazy. And I'm like, okay, I gotta stop running, right? So I'm like, I said, stop. I said, Joe, Dave, because I can hear he said crazy. I said, Dave, stop chasing me. He's like, you stop running. I said, I'm gonna shoot you. He said, oh, you got a gun, you're gonna shoot me. So and then he stopped. So I said, thanks. So I stopped running. So I turned around. I said, yo, bro. He said, oh, you official? You got a gun? I said, stop chasing me, bro. What's wrong with you? He said, you don't show me a gun, I'm coming to get you. I said, this dude crazy. So I pulled out my gun. So now I did my time for any crime I committed back then. This is the early 90s, right? I got 25 life. I did my time for any crimes I committed back then. I'm talking past life. So I pulled out the gun, right? So I pulled out my gun. So I said, and I had my 9. I forgot which one. A Glock, a nice one. A Glock one. A 9 short, though. A 9 short, a stubby 9, not a Glock, a 9 short, stubby. I used to call it a Glock because it was so thick, because it was short, beautiful. I just love that piece. So I pull out my thing, it's chunky. I pull out my 9, and I'm like, and he like, so I pull out the 9, right? Because he said, you pull out a gun, you don't pull out a gun, I'm gonna get you. So, and I said, what the? So I pull out the gun, and he go, oh, I like that. What is that? I'm like, what the hell? So I said, it's a 9 short. He said, oh, you got a gun. Okay. You official. Welcome to the neighborhood. Crazy Dave. And then takes off. And just starts walking up the street. Back up, cause we at the corner of farm. He chased me all the way back to the corner of farmers. I was gonna run up farmers. But I'm like, this dude keep chasing me. So then he just starts walking up the middle of the street. He walks up the sidewalk, cause we were running on the sidewalk. And he walks into the middle of the street, and he's just walking. And he's walking up the street, and he just walks up the middle of the street, and I'm just looking at him. Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what in the hell? So I'm just watching him, right? So he walks up the street and he keeps walking, And I'm like, where's he going? And I swear to y'all guys, he walks up the middle of the street. And that's why I ain't gonna tell where it's at, because he might still live there. He walks up the middle of the street, and this is the street. So this is my side, that's the other side, this is the street. He walks up the middle of the street, goes past my house, goes. Now there's a cross street. Our street is short, and there's a cross street that's a long street that goes all the way from that Springfield all the way through Queens. It's long street like Farmers Boulevard. And no, I don't think it go all the way. I think it cuts off, but it's a long street. I don't think it goes always up to Springfield and up to Linden, but it's long. So he walks straight up the street, the middle, and then he keeps walking. Now, all the time he's walking, he's making noise and talking and loud, and it's kind of late, and he's one of those making mad noise and just talking, and then he goes, and then he walks right into there's a house that's, okay, so the side street like this is houses, right? So our street, then the side street can go that way or that way, houses, and they both go back up to Farmers, and then they'll go back to the other 119th and go straight up and all that, right? So he walks straight up the middle of the street and right into this house that's right up the middle, right at my end of my street, the house right in the middle. He just walks into the house, loud, making all this noise, opens the door and goes in. And I'm still standing at where he chased me at. I'm standing there just looking at the house like, what in the world? I don't even know what happened. Right? Yeah, welcome to the neighborhood was the key word. Right? And I'm sitting up here like, so I don't know, I'm tripping, right? So I'm like, okay, now I'm from the hood, so I'm used to crazy stuff, right? But that was insane, right? That was crazy, right? So I walk back up the street to the car. Now this car right here, the back door is still wide open with the lights all on in the inside, my groceries inside. So I walk back up I put my gun back on my waist. I walk back up to the car, and I'm like, what? Now I'm looking at the bushes, like, I'm like, what? Now it's quiet. The street is quiet like ain't nothing happened. It's quiet like ain't nobody ever did nothing. Nothing happened. Just as like normal as it was. Nobody seen or heard this crazy thing. I just got chased by a maniac. You understand? Chased, literally chased. So I go and now I'm like, I don't know what to do, right? Because I'm trying to get my groceries, but I'm looking. I'm like, I don't. Could he come back out? Did he go get a gun? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what this. So I get the groceries, like my first round, and I take them in, but I'm looking, and I go to the house. I go downstairs. They in the house. I'm like, yo, Pam, And she's like, well, I'm like, you ain't gonna believe what happened, right? So I told her. So she laughing. And she like, you say, I'm like, no, some crazy dude chased me. He lived right at the end of the house. And then told me, welcome to the neighborhood. And she said, I thought this was a quiet neighborhood. I said, I did too. I don't know. It is quiet because it's quiet. Nobody, like, you just see the people. Some people say hi. Some people just, mind their business. And so now I'm like, all right, so you coming back out with me, right? Because I need you. So, Pam was my ride or die. That was my road dog, right? Me and Pam, we've been through everything, right? When I used to go re-up, we go together. You know what I mean? I got 2 ratchets going to re-up in Harlem and uptown for the Colombians and stuff. Like, it was on. We've been through everything, man. When I go back and tell those stories, y'all understand Pam was ride or die. We done been through everything, right? And she was crazy too. That was the one trying to shoot me. That was the one that story I bought her a Mercedes and she tried to stab me. That story, right? So anyway, so Pam, gang, right? We've been through everything. So I'm like, all right, you coming out with me? And she laughing like, I'm like, because I need her to watch. So I got my back turned. She's like, oh, he coming, so whatever. So we go back up. I go out. I go to the car. I'm good. She's standing she's watching because I had to stand at the side of the house where they can't see you. Because last time he caught me out there, he was in the bushes, right? So now I'm doing my stealth mode. I'm like, you stand don't come out the driveway. You stand at the side of the house and you watch my surroundings in case somebody, you could see somebody try to run up on me or something. So I go back out. She watching. We take the first set in. We come back out, do it again. We take that one in, lock up the car, and nobody, and we stand there looking. I'm like, everything just as quiet as since I bought it. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever. So we finish. All right. The next day, we I get up. I always take Pam to the island because she still she going to her mom and dad. She still got to pack all her stuff, right? So I would get up, take her to Hempstead, right? And then I would come back. So she would go to Hempstead, drop her off. She would be packing and doing whatever she's doing with her family. And I would come back to Queens and just chill out in a new spot, right? Because she bought a little TV and stuff. And now the lady allow us to tap into her little cable line thing. You know what I mean? So I got a little TV and we got food in the fridge. So so I come back and I drop her off. It's daytime. I come back. It's like 11 in the afternoon. Nice. It's cold because it's winter, but it's nice and clear and the sun is out, right? So I pull back on the block and there's this, there's a black Lexus SC 400 Lex Coupe. The Lex Coupe, Jima's in the bins. The Lex Coupe was one of the most famous cars back then. Black with these chrome rims. They were called Adonis. If I could find me some Adonis rims, I would have those right now. Adonis rims, they were 5-star rims and they had a big chrome ball. So the 5-star went up and there was a big chrome ball on each of the end of the 5 stars. All those Adonis rims was popping. So he had a black SC 400 Lex Coupe with the Adonis joints on it. Woo! Hot. So I pull up and I see this black SC and I'm like, ooh, that is sweet, right? And I haven't seen it on the block. And it was like two houses down from my house. So I was like, ooh, look at that Lex Coupe. That's clean. And it was black. Somebody got a fat Lex Coupe. So I park, right? And I get out. And so when I get out, somebody come walking out the house to come into the car. And so I see him, and it was some light-skinned dude, right? Light-skinned dude, fly, like pretty boy. I really couldn't see that he was that much of a pretty boy from the distance, but later I know he was a real pretty boy, right? And but dressed fly, right? Clean, dressed, So he come walking out. So I look at him, and real detective, I could tell a hustler. You know what I mean? This the crack era. You could tell somebody getting money. You know what I mean? So he come walking out, and he look at me, right? Now you see, I got this car, right? I got the big 500 SEL. He got the Lex Coupe, the Lexus Coupe, right? So he walking out, and I'm looking at him like, okay, and I can tell he getting money. I got my ice on, so I'm walking, and he like, yo, what up? What up, God? So I'm like, did he just say God? So I'm like, how in the world? So I'm like, yo, peace. He's like, no, not what up. Yo, peace, God. So I'm like, did he just say God? So I'm like, peace. And I'm like, okay, how in the hell? Right? Because I ain't got I'm thinking, well, maybe he saw me before with my Fendi, with the Nation of Islam, this universal flag. I don't know. I ain't been there but 1 or 2 days. Like, I'm like, how in the world? So then he said, yo, I know I'm catching you off guard. He said, but I just wanted to say peace to the God. So I was like, yo, peace. So then he started walking down from the Lex. So I'm walking up to my thing. So I'm like, okay. So he seemed cool. We walking up. So I walk up. Some pretty light-skinned dude, right? So I'm like, yo, what's good? So he's like, yeah, God. He said, I know you tripping. Like, how he know I'm righteous? I said, yeah. How you know? He said, I know you. I know that car. So I'm like, how you know he said, you be at, he said, you be at Lacey's. You be at White Castle parking lot. So I'm like, wow. Now, Lacey's, guys, is one of the most famous roller rinks in the early 90s. You had Empire roller rink in Brooklyn. You had Skate Key roller rink. You had USA roller rink in Queens. You had Lacey's, which was Queens, Long Island, borderline. This the crack era. So I got a story that's coming about Pappy Mason and at Lacey's. Okay. that I was there, a first-hand account. Then I got another story about Lacey's about my boy Robo and official story, right? I'm gonna promote that story when I tell it. All right. So Lacey's was one of the most famous. Yeah, and the one in Jersey was Big Dog Jess. Absolutely, I forgot the name of that one too. The one in Jersey. So it was roller rinks, guys. We would go to clubs, roller rinks. You know what I mean? You had the Latin Quarter and stuff like that, the clubs and stuff, right? And roller rinks too, right? And it was popping. It'd be like the crack era was no joke, and everybody be there with their cards but you could get done. You can get caught out there at one of those too, right? You can get shot up, robbed, whatever, right? So the dude, now I learned to know him. He was like, yeah. He said, I know that car. He said, you be at Lacey's. I said, okay, because Queens be at Lacey's, right? Lacey's was like a Queens, Brooklyn, Strong Island thing, right? That was a Queens, Brooklyn, Strong Island roller rink, right? So I'm like, okay. He said, yeah. He said, I know you. He said, I know that car. Y'all be wilding in White Castle. So I said, oh, you go to White Castle? He said, yeah, man. He said, I seen you. He said, I never forget that car. He said, man, it was going down in White Castle. I don't remember which incident he talking about, but there was so many of them. But he said, now this is a Queens dude. He said, it was going down in White Castle parking lot. He said, and I remember your Benz and some big black dude got out and he was wilding. And guess who he talking about? He talking about my man, Big Dapper Don. Not Dapper Dan, not the clothing. That is not a ghetto dude. Dapper Dan, the clothing store dude. I'm saying my man D Don, Big Dap from Crown Heights, Hempstead, Strong Island. Big Dapper Don, Big Dap. He talking about. So I remember when he said the big black dude got out the Benz and was wild. I said, oh, he must be talking about Dap, because Dap is one of the biggest dark-skinned dudes that was, that I was to run with. And Dap is like what, 6'6". Dap like 6'6", 300 some pounds, right? He might be even 6'7". Dap is 6'5", 6'6", 300 some pounds, but no joke, right? A fighter, right? Facts, no joke. I ain't talking about big and can't fight. I'm talking about big and about that life, right? Big Dapper Don, my man, right? So I'm like, oh, so he like, man, he said, some big dude got out your Benz. This dude, he's like, I said, then he told me another snare. I'm like, oh, okay. So he like, yeah, man, I know who you are, God. And I was like, he said, ain't your name YAHSHUAH? I said, yeah. He said, I know. Everybody think your name Fendi, because that's when I had all the Fendi stuff. And I said, all right. And he said, yeah, my name is Born. Now, for those who remember the story about when that mechanic cut my hand off, cut my hand, almost my thumb came off, that story, Born was the one that took me to the hospital, Mary Immaculate, right? That hospital. And Born was the one that I said, stay away from Pam with his little pretty, little butterscotch skin. He got Born had that butter soft skin. Them pretty dudes. I'm like, stay away from Pam, Born. I'll get your little pretty butt away from my girl. I don't play all that extra pretty dudes. You ain't be coming around my girl. Just and sisters, don't let no pretty girls be coming around your man. Be careful with that. I don't play all that. Right? Yeah, Born, the pretty boy, right? Butter skin look like butter pecan or scotch or something. I'm like, but yeah, so I was Born. This is my first time meeting Born, right? So Born is like, so he like, yeah. He said, yeah. So he said, yo, so you moved in? You live here? So I'm like, yeah, I just got this spot. He's like, oh, that's what's up. He said, welcome to the hood, right? So I'm like, yeah. I said, yeah, it seemed pretty cool. He said, nah, this block is cool. He said, we hold it down. So I said, could I ask you a question? I like, could I ask you a question? He's like, yeah, God, what's good? I said, listen, bro. I said, yesterday, I was coming from Western Beach. I said it was about 9 at night, about 8:30 at night. I said, I pull up right there and see where I park my Benz. I said, some crazy fat dude jumped out the bushes and started chasing me up the street, bro. I'm like, I almost had to shoot him. And he was like, and he just bust out laughing, right? So I'm like, right? So I'm like, yo, what's so funny, right? So he couldn't stop laughing. So he laughing, right? I'm like, yo, what's funny, God? I'm like, yo, God, what is so funny, right? So he said, oh, that's Crazy Dave. I said, yeah, that's his name. That's what he said. He said, no, that's Crazy Dave. I said, yeah, but I'm telling you, bro, I almost popped him, bro. He chased me up the street. He said, nah. He said, no. He said, nah, God. Right? That's how we call each other God body back there. Right? So he said, nah, God. And I ain't being no disrespect to the Father because the Most High ain't a God. We are actually Yads. Do you not know that ye are gods? It's in the scripture. We are Yads. All right? So I'm not disrespecting the Father because he's not a God. He's the creator. He creates gods. You heard? All right. So I just want to clarify that. So we called each other God body, right? God, nation of gods and earth, right? So he laughing, right? So I'm like, he's like, yo, God. And I'm like, what is so funny, God? I'm like, right? Because I'm trying to wait for, he can't stop laughing, right? So I'm like, yo, what's so funny? He said, nah, God. He said, listen, that's Crazy Dave. He said, I told him when I seen you when you first moved in, right? He said, you didn't see me, but I seen you. So I told Crazy Dave who you were. I told him that you was from Strong Island and you was official. You was about that life. Because this block, we hold it down. And if anybody move to this block, they're going to get tested. Because he said, because we get money, but we don't get money on the block. But we got our crew. Dave got a crew in Southside, Jamaica. He got a crew over there towards Southside where he get his money. He said, I got my money. I got another part of Queens, and he had a part of Amityville, Long Island, I think. A part of Long Island, too, because his pops was from Long Island, but his mom's was from Queens. So he had he was hustling in Long Island, and he had a part in Queens. So anybody that moved to the block, especially someone like me pulling a Benz up, they got to make sure I ain't thinking I'm gonna come take over this block or sell drugs on their block. You don't sell drugs when you rest your head. This back then, don't sell drugs. Period. Let me clean that one up. You don't sell drugs. Period. At all. Back then, when in the early 90s, when we were kids in our sin, during the crack era. We had a motto of you don't sell drugs where you lay your head if you was official back then. So I'm not promoting that. I have to clean that up. You know what I mean? And cleaning that up, let y'all know I'm not promoting you don't sell drugs, period. Where you lay your head, where you don't lay your head. Don't nobody sell no drugs. All right, get you a job. Okay. Don't do no crimes. All right. So this is the story for back then. So one of the models officials is you don't sell drugs. You didn't sell drugs where you laid your head at, right? So he said they would make sure that anybody that moved into that block, or let's say if someone started dating a chick on the block that they don't think is sweet, so they're going to get tested. And Dave is usually the one that's going to test you. He said there's others that'll test you, but they more subtle. Dave is just crazy. So I said, yay, crazy. He said, so what'd he do? I said, man, he came out the bushes and he like, I heard you did bushes. He said, and he laughing, right? So I said, stop laughing, bro, right? Because he thinking this is so funny, right? And I'm like, this is not funny, right? So I'm like, stop laughing. He said, no, it's just funny. He said, all right, let me explain. He said, you caught him when he was on that P. So I'm like, P, guys, was angel dust. Angel dust is a PCP. In California, they call it Sherm. Angel dust is a hallucinogenic. It was a drug, they call it dust, or P, or PCP, short for P, right? Zoo Bang, we used to call it that Zoo too, Zoo Bang, Zooty Bang, right? So when you shout out to Unique and Daddy U in the building, right? So Unique said, I remember you telling me this story. So those who in the hood who would smoke angel dust, P, and you sprinkle it in weed, or you sprinkle it over tobacco, like a cigarette, and you roll it like a joint. Or some people just put it by itself, but you really can't, but some people do. That's even crazier. Now, this angel dust PCP, when they sprinkle it just a little bit over the tobacco or over weed and roll it, yeah, dust heads, exactly. When they smoke it, you only got to take if some people take one hit and they never come back. What I mean by that is people would trick you and you think they smoking weed. This back in the 90s. That's why you couldn't smoke with everyone. They call it a dust trip, an angel dust. You'll go on a trip. It's a hallucinogenic, right? A psychedelic. So some people would give you, and you'll think it's weed and they'll give it to you. And it used to smell like peppermint, but they can mask it with the weed. And you think you smoking and you take a pull of it. And some people never come back. And what I mean by never come back is they trip out and they never get their sanity back. They end up talking to themselves. They the ones you see walking down the streets. 745, 645, you know, walking with big coats on in the wintertime up and down the street, talking to themselves, homeless on the, loco. Some people never come back. There's, you just coming from the repast. Oh, that he's talking to Unique. I guess they went to one of my brother's repast, a funeral happened. RIP to whoever repast y'all guys went to. So they call it a dust trip. So some people from our era, the 80s and the 90s, they never snapped out of it for the rest of their life. They call it spiking you. They two ways that they would to trip you. They spike your drink. I don't know what they would spike that with. That's why you would have to cover your drink. You know, you still need to do it now. And people didn't come back from it, or smoking some PCP. Now, dust, angel dust. Now, the dust heads in the hood were the most dangerous of them all. Okay? Dad, Unique said, brothers still be dusting. Dad, still? The dust heads? Because angel dust, PCP, would make you lose all sense. You have no sense of reality. Meaning you could kill your whole family and then come out of the trip and don't realize you did anything. That's happened to people where they got life in prison now because they went on a dust trip and killed their girlfriend and their baby and all that. And when they came out of it, they in a bloody pool of blood and don't even realize what they did. That's angel dust, a dust trip. And the dudes, the thugs in the hood who used to get dusted, I got a story that I'm going to tell on here. It's going to be a big story of one of the most famous dudes from Hempstead, a straight fighter, killer. He dead, so I could call him that. And he used to get dusted. And I remember when he used to get dusted, you better stay away from them when they dusted. Because if they dangerous when they ain't on angel dust, they could kill everything that move when they're on angel dust. So Bourne said, oh, he must have been dusted. So I'm like, did that make sense? Because he was tripping, bro. I said, yo, this dude was losing his mind. So yeah, he'd be dusted. He said sometime when he dusted, he said, yeah. He said when he usually try to stay away when he dusted, he usually be dusted where he hustle at over there in Southside Jamaica, Queens. He said, usually when he come to the hood, if he dusted, he just go straight in the house. He said, but he was probably in the bushes waiting for you. I said, he was definitely waiting for me. He's like, yeah, he was checking you. He said, I told him you was official, but he gonna check you anyway. I said, I almost shot that dude. He said, I'm glad you didn't shoot him. I said, I almost shot him. I was like, this dude is crazy. He chased me all the way up the street. So it was King Thrist passed away. Her brother, he was on some real positive snug. All right, that's what's up. I think I remember you said Herb little brother. R.I.P. to the brother, man. R.I.P. to the brother. So he said that's Crazy Dave. So he said he lived right there. He said, but nah, Dave is cool. Oh, Thirst? Thank you, Jess. Thirst pass? Oh man. So I know Lil E. Lil E gotta be tripping. That was Lil E, man. Man, R.I.P. to Thirsty, man. Thank you, Jess. I didn't know who Unique was talking about. I knew he said Herb little brother, but I didn't know, Wow. Yeah, Thirsty. Yeah, Jess helped me out. I know who you're talking about now, Unique. Thank you, Jess. R.I.P. to Thirst, man. Wow, go dang, man. People, man, our people, they falling off one by one, man. Yeah, I know his repast was crowded. R.I.P. to Thirst. I know Lil E taking that one tough. All right, R.I.P. to Thirst. All right, man. So, sorry guys, I gotta, you know what I mean? That just hit a little, cause just now I know who it is. That just hit a little, you know what I mean? R.I.P. to Thirst. All right, and the whole family. All right, all right. So, sorry guys. Give me a minute. I gotta snap back in. You know, it ain't something I could just snap push away like that. All right, R.I.P. Oh man. All right, all right. Sorry guys. Y'all give me a second. It just hit who it is. You know what I mean? All right. All right, let me gather myself. R.I.P. to the family, my brother Thirst, and to the whole family, my condolences to your whole family. All right. So, let me get back to the story. So, Born was telling me, you know, he was like, Crazy Dave, he don't stay like that. He really cool, right? He really cool, but he really holds the block down. So Dave is like, he said he's like the centerpiece of the block. Anything go down, he taking a bullet for the block. So he's like, I'm gonna introduce you to him, like when he come out, so you can have a proper introduction. Shout out to Diane Conyers over there, and on Facebook. Sorry guys, I'm still a little out of it. I'm gonna snap into it. I'm trying to gather myself. All right, so he's like, I'm gonna give you a proper introduction to him. You know what I mean? Whenever he wakes up, he don't get up till later, but I'll let him. I'll let you know. So I'm like, all right, cool. So he's like, nah, he really cool. You're gonna like him. He said he don't usually be around when he dusted. If he's ever dusted, he usually just go straight in the house, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So we that's over with. So about a couple days later, I pull up and I drop Pam off in Hempstead. I come back to Queens, and Born is an early bird, so he's always up early. So Born is one of them dudes that be up. I keep wiping my nose because I guess I need to clip my nose hairs. You know how you get my hair grow long, so it must be a nose hair. It's just trickling my nose. So I keep going like this because it's like y'all know what I'm talking about, right? It's really aggravating. It's really itching me. I'm like, dude, stop. Right? And I know I keep going like this. Somebody gonna be like, oh, he's sniffing. He's sniffing that. They was like, he's sniffing that blow. I know, so I sniffing that blow. He keep ripping his nose. No, it's because I got a long nose hair. And it's freaking aggravating. I'm like, try to push it back up. Like, get out the way, bro. It's aggravating me. So if y'all see me through this, it's a nose hair, guys. Ain't nobody sniffing no. I'm a man in the Most High. I don't do drugs at all. Right? I don't smoke. I don't even drink. Right? But I can drink on special occasion if I wanted to. But I don't do nothing. I don't go nowhere. Okay, so I don't do drugs. All right, it's just tickling me, man. It won't stop. I think it's both noses because it's like they both. All right. So I'll make sure I'll be cutting it after this one. So tomorrow's Bible study, I'm not going like this to my nose. All right, I'm gonna have to get through this because it's really aggravating. All right, so now about a couple of days later, I pull up. Shout out to YAHSHUAH and family out there in Canada. I pull up and Born is out. Okay, that's what it says. So Born is one of those early rise dudes. I mean, he up 7 o'clock in the morning, right? This Born. I sleep all day. Okay, I work all night. Even when I had that job, I worked overnight, right? And I still do this now. I sleep all day and I teach ministry at night, right? Because right now, after I finish tonight's story, I'm gonna be up to about 8 in the morning, preparing for the ministry tomorrow and working on stuff on the ministry, and then I go to sleep. So Born is the opposite. Born is one of them dudes. He up 7 o'clock in the morning, fresh shower, clean. His little butter. He didn't put baby cocoa butter on his face. Some of them face just is glistening and shiny. Just as fresh and clean, right? And so Born is a clean, like really clean. I dress good too, but he one of them that just look clean. You know what I mean? Some of the people just look and smell clean. Like I don't know, Born just look clean, right? He always look clean, right? So and he up early. I'm talking about early. So when I come back, I'm coming back from dropping Pam off from in Hempstead, and then I'm coming back to Queens to go back to sleep. I'm coming back to the house to go back to sleep. So when I get back, he up and he's shining his car. He always up, car clean, smelling good, and he going somewhere. Jamaica Avenue, he going somewhere, right? He always, So I come back and he like, yo, peace, God. Yo, come here, God. So I come over. He like, yo, stay right here. I already told Dave, I'm going to go get Dave. So I said, all right. So he walk up to the house, and he go, knocking on the door, Dave. So then you hear, I figured E is tripping. That was his man. So then you hear the window open. He like, what? I'm like, that's that country hood stuff, right? He's like, yo, come outside. He said, the guard here. He's like, all right, I'm coming. So he closed the window, then he come down. So I'm standing. So him and Born come walking over, and he come, his stomach all out. One of those Santa Claus dudes, one of those big dudes. So he walk over, and he like, yo, peace. And I'm like, yo, what's good? Now I'm still a little triggered, right? So I'm standing there, and my hand is like on my gun under my thing, right? God still don't trust this dude because this dude chased me up the street, right? So I'm still a little triggered. So my hand is on my gun, right? So he walk up, he all jolly, right? So he jolly like, yo, what up? What up, God? Peace, God. And I'm like, yo, what up? And he like, all like this, and I back up. And he like, yo, what? And so Born like, no, Ra. No, Ra, he good. He said, and he's like, yo, what's going on? And he said, yo, you don't remember what you did the other night? And he like, nah, what you talking about? So I'm just standing there looking with my hand on my ratchet, right? I'm just sitting there Born like, you don't remember Dave? He's like, nah, what you talking about? You approached him, you chased him up the street. He like, I ain't chased nobody. And he said, Dave, you was on that dust? He said, I don't know. When was it? He said, a couple of days ago. He said, oh, yeah. Dude, I was on the trip. He said, oh, yeah. I was on the trip. Fly high like the... I said, this dude is crazy, right? He like, fly high like a bird in the sky. I was there. He said, oh, I chased you? He said, what happened? I said, yeah, you came out the bushes. He said, oh, I was in the bushes? I said, you don't remember? He said, yeah. I said, yeah, you came talking about you was checking me, talking about you G-checking me. You trying to see if I'm about that life and all this stuff. He said, oh, yeah, that sounds about right there. That sounds about all right. I said, boy, I almost shot you. He said, well, thank you for not shooting me. That would have hurt. Now, listen, I swear. He said, thank you for not shooting me. And then he pulled up his shirt and his belly, you know those fat dudes. You know how Rick Ross always have his belly out, when he was fatter? Like, he one of those. He pulled up his shirt and his belly flop and said, thank you. That would have hurt. And touched his belly. He's like, that would have hurt. I'm like, I'm like, this dude crazy, right? So he's like, yo, man, I don't mean nothing by it. He said, sorry that you caught me on the trip. And I was like, bro, man, I'm glad I didn't shoot you. He said, nah, I heard you official. He said, Born told me you from Strong Island? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Hempstead. He said, yeah, I heard of that. I don't know too much about it. He said, you be up at Lacey's? I said, yeah. He said, and you dress like that up at Lacey's? Because, you know, I'm heavy. I said, yeah. He said, oh, yeah, you must be official. You going up there looking like that. Ain't nobody try you. He said, Queens of Brooklyn be up there heavy. I said, oh, yeah, we be up there heavy too. Strong Island up there heavy too, right? So then he's like, all right. He said, you know, what you doing? I said, I ain't doing nothing. He said, you know what I'm talking about? I said, you know what I'm talking about? I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I ain't doing nothing here. He said, he looked at the car. He said, I know you getting money. I said, nah, I'm not even really hustling right now. I said, I'm probably about to start up again. I said, I got a little job, but I don't think it's gonna pay my bills this time. Know what I mean? So then Born was like, yo, you know I got that, right? So I'm like, nah, you got what? He was like, and then Dave was like, that's the man right there. He's like, he got everything. I'm like, you hoe? He's like, yeah, that's what I do. And I'm like, get out of here. You mean tell me I got to connect right on my block? You mean tell me I moved on the block and you to connect? And he like, yeah, I ain't, giving away, I ain't say his name or nothing. I ain't giving away nothing. I don't know it, but he did his time too, because Born he got locked up. He did like 7 years or something. So, and then he came home and just got a job and stuff. He wasn't hustling no more. And at that time, that's when I was in my fullness. That y'all hear that story when I come. I was a multimillionaire when that happened. And I know he heard it seeing that because I was on top of the world before my 25 life. Right? And I came home after like 7 years or something. So anyway, so he was like, yeah, he's like, yo, I supply this. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. He said, so Born's like, you family now. Whenever you ready to get back, just let me know. You ain't got to go nowhere. It's right here. Here. I was like, oh my goodness. You mean to tell me it's right here? I ain't even got to go nowhere. Have nobody in my business right here. And Crazy Dave like, that's right. You family now. It's here. It's here. Whenever you get back in the game, come see the family. And I'm like, this dude crazy. He like, any problems, any beef, you come get us. Anybody, anywhere in Queens, you got beef, you come get us. You part of the family. Farmers Boulevard, you here. We family. I'm like, all right. Love you. And I'm like, this dude crazy. I'm like, he just all crazy. Everything he do is actions. He talk crazy. And he all loud. He had on 40 below Timberlands. So he had on 40 below Timberlands with the shoe streak with it all open. Nothing tied, all open. Pants off, falling off, shirt, belly sticking out. He just wild. One of them wild boys. A wild boy, right? So I'm like, all right. And he like, and he said, I see you holding, but you need any ratchets. I'm the ratchet man. I got whatever you need. You need Tex, you need a Uzi, whatever ratchet you need, come see me, Crazy Dave. I got all of you. Think Crazy Eddie was crazy? I got everything, right? And I'm like, all right. So now Crazy Dave then told me whatever ratchet I need, he got those. My homie Born then said, I got all the weight, and this is all on the block. I'm like, what? Welcome to the hood. We's family now. Facts. So I'm like, Crazy Dave. I'm like, all right. So then he all right, I'm out of here, Born. And he's like, all right, I'm out of here, Ron. We family. And he go walking up the street. So I said, he started walking. So I said, Born, where he going? He said, who knows? He gonna start his day. I said, he don't got no car? He said, they ain't letting Crazy Dave drive. Crazy Dave ain't got no license. Crazy Dave run from the police, all that crazy. He was like, Crazy Dave ain't got no car. if you see, he said, if you ever see Crazy Dave in the car, it's stolen. Just don't ever get in this car. Don't ever get in the car. I said, I'll never get in the car with this crazy fool. And he go walking up the street, singing, yelling, or singing a song or something, singing music, just walking up the street, gone. He said he go find one of his crew and they put him in the car. He's Crazy Dave, the one in someone's car on the passenger side, getting out with the gun, sticking up with his shirt, with the gun, with the gun in his waist, but the shirt stuck in so you could see the gun. He said the police don't even like messing with him because he crazy. You catch him on that dust. So that was my introduction to Crazy Dave. So fast forward, me and Dal X, we go on the Newsday, we working for the place, and Dal X get into a beef with the Haitians who ran the company, and we end up getting fired. So now we got fired, and now we don't got a job. And I got these bills, and I got my baby and Pam there. So now I'm like, okay, well, I got to do the only thing I knew. All right, not the smartest, not smart at all, but that's the only thing I really knew. All I really had was the street. So I'm like, time to go back to what I know. I tried the job thing. I struggled with it for all that time. Barely could buy food. And then they fired us for nothing because they didn't like us because we were young black. And no disrespect, sac passe to my Haitian brothers and sisters, but they spoke Spanish and Creole. I think that's what the Haitians speak. Yeah, and they didn't like us, but they liked the Spanish people because they spoke Spanish and Creole, and they would talk about the blacks. There was only about 5 of us there, and the rest, like 50 other people, they were all Haitian and Hispanic. And they didn't like us. They would talk about us in Spanish and Creole, and we couldn't understand them. And they'd be laughing around, you know what I mean? And that stuff, that ain't gonna fly but so far. And they was talking like that, and Dow knew, and Dow couldn't take it no more. And you're like, F you, I know y'all, because they be laughing about you, you know what I mean? And he got into a fight, and Dow whooped out one of them, then they tried to jump him, and I jumped in, and it's on and popping. So now we in the spot fighting these Haitians, and it's on and popping because they run the spot, so it's like 30 of them. So I keep a knife. You know what I mean? If I ain't gonna have a gun, I'm gonna keep a rat. I'm gonna keep a unique. No, I keep a ox. Here, go right here. I got you. You want to know how much I keep one? Look, y'all see what this is? This is a box cutter. This ain't illegal, so I ain't doing no crime. Look at that. Y'all see that? I ain't lying. Y'all think I'm lying or flying? Unique? No. We have one of these, right? We got to go into a club. Take this part out of here. Take that razor blade out. I keep about 3 or 4 of them on me. Take each one out. Give everybody a razor blade, and we got the razor blade. And now we go in the club. We ain't in the club without nothing. You tripping? If we can't slide a gun in our Timberlands or something, or notice security to get a gun in, we gonna have an ox. Oh, I keep an ox. If I'm lying or flying, there's one right here while I'm talking. All right. So anyway, I'm at the job. I got something. I ain't got no gun, but I got something. So the Haitian, they try to jump us. Y'all tripping. Dow know he keeps something. We both pull out. Next we chasing Haitians through. We trying to play Edward Scissorhands. It's on and popping. You understand? So it's like that was it. They fired us. They got with the Newsday people and the people who run the company, because they were a temp agency. We worked for them, and Dow X father Dave, he got us the job. But once we told Dave, he understood. Because he knew, because he worked for Newsday. Dave worked for the actual Newsday. They get like $80 an hour or something, making big money. And we getting a little, I don't know, little $10 or something, little money. All right. Yeah, shout out to Reese Collier in the building. Yeah, Reese. We chasing them through. We chasing them through Newsday, Reese. Reese. We work in the Newsday newspaper. We working in the Newsday building at the company. So I'm buffing floors. That's why I learned how to do the buffer. Oh, I'm a king buffer. You see the floor where there's Mercedes at? Hold on, I can get the Mercedes off the screen now. I would buff that floor. I'll buff that floor. It'd be so shiny. Yo, I became King Buffer Reese to the point. This how you know. All right, first of all, for those who never use the buffer machine, the big floor buffer, that thing will throw you as far as a donkey kick. Understand? You got that thing. It spins and rotates. It's a rhythm, and you got to learn how to work that. It's a science, right? Because at first that thing will rock you. Boy, I was King Buffer Reese, so I could buff with one hand. That's how you know you can. Anybody who buff floors know what I'm talking about. I'm rocking a buffer with one hand, switching hands, and I'm buffing all night long. We working all night. I'm buffing for the morning crew of the Newsday people to make the newspapers. You know what I mean? So we busting our butt. I'm in the staircase. I got to bring that buffer heavy. You can't lift it. I'm pulling the buffer up the stairs so I can buff the staircase floors. You know, these rich buildings with the floors, the marble floors. You got to buff it, make it shine, right? So we breaking our neck in Newsday all night. And these Haitian, yo, Reese, we chasing them all through Newsday. Me and Dow, we trying to slice. They try to jump us in there. Y'all tripping. Y'all wrong again. Y'all think y'all gonna catch us out there. So they fired us. They got with the Newsday people because Dave Dow's dad, he worked for Newsday and he was there for 30 years. He retired from there type thing. So he got pulled. So that's why he hooked us up with the temp agency. And the thing was, start at the temp agency, then he was going to try to get us hired in Newsday. So that's what we was doing. So we was willing to do it. We did it. We worked every night, getting that little $200 and some paycheck. Right? I can't even pay my bills or nothing, right? But we did it, right? Listening to my dad and my stepmom and trying to do the right thing, and did it just for them to be hating on us because we black. Y'all know nobody like black Americans. Y'all know they hate us. No disrespect. Now, shout out to my Haitian brothers, my Caribbean brothers, and our ministry and all of them who don't hate us. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know some of the people. Y'all know they be hating black Americans. Everybody do, right? So it's just it's a minority of people in every culture who have love for us. But other than that, everybody hate black Americans around the world. They call us Iggers. Y'all know, they said that. We ain't no Iggers. They the Iggers. Black Americans, we the Iggers. They some of them used to say they ain't even black, honestly. Like when I grew up, the Jamaicans said, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. Well, what the hell? You're darker than me. So later we had to find out, like we are just a different, they ain't like us, right? So anyway, they got with the Newsday people because of Dave, and Dave couldn't save our job. But then he understood. He was like, yeah, well, they tried to jump y'all. It was because we pulled out weapons, and they had us on the camera. That's what was funny, Reese. They showed, because they had the thing where they were showing, while they're firing us and everything, and they showed us on the camera, me and Don chasing people through the thing. Me and Dow like, yep, that's right. Y'all see what they're going to jump us. What you want us to do? But y'all had a weapon, so you brought a weapon into the building and you went to use it. So I got fired, right? That what happened, right? Yeah, that what happened. I got fired, right? Now, remember, I'm telling you, I tried to do the right thing, right? I tried to do the right thing, okay? So now I'm fired. But now I got a place in Queens and I got my kid and me and Pam and all that. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going back to the hood. Now this right here, guys, when y'all go back to my first stories on the channel, the videos, when I was talking about in 92, my stories with LL, and when I was shooting and shooting out the street lights and all that, when I was crazy, this is the start of that. That's when I went back and I started hustling again. So I'm going to tell another story that starts that, because there was a process to me it was bad when I first went back hustling because people was already getting money up there. Barry and them, it was certain people. This is the time. What's his name? He dead now. What's his Tommy? Tommy was getting mad money. People was getting money. And I was just coming back. So I couldn't make a penny. It was rough for me out there at first. But then, and I'll save that for when I tell that story. That beginning, it was rough. But then, I end up doing my thing. I toughed it out. I'm not promoting none of that. But that got me my first bid, my real estate bid, right? And I was going to tell that tonight, but I'm not. So I'll breeze through it. So I knew, well, I got to go back to the streets. So I went, and the next day, after we got fired, I took Pam, I dropped her off. When I came back to the block, Bourne was out there as normal, getting his car cleaned up. He used to have some crackhead come and wash his car every morning. But Bourne is that clean. His car, Bourne was so clean, he get a car wash every day. Every day. Not your car ain't gonna get dirty. You just got a car wash yesterday. I used to get a car wash maybe once a week, right? Once every 4 days, right? Every day, Bourne got the crackheads cleaning his car. That's how clean Bourne is. Smelling all good. Bourne's clean. I know what girls love that dude, right? Looking all pretty boy, clean as all outdoors. He probably smell like Clorox bleach. That's hilarious. That boy poop probably smell like Clorox bleach. I ain't never seen the bike so clean, right? So Bourne was one of the clean dudes. So he had somebody out there clean his car every day. So he OCD clean. So I pull up and Bourne, of course, he out there, somebody clean his car. So I'm like, yo, guy, like, yo, what's up, guys? Come talk. I'm like, yo. I said, it's time for me to get back on the block, man. He's like, what? I'm like, I need something. So I'm like, he like, all right, you want me to front you something? I'm like, nah, I don't do fronts. I said, shout out to Brooklyn Red, Flatbush in the building, Flatbush, Brooklyn in the building. I said, nah. I said, I got like $400. I said, you hook me up? He's like, I got you. So I said, all right. So he said, come on. You got it on you? I'm like, yeah. So we went in the house. So he's like, all right. So he come out with like a half a key, right? And I'm like, okay. I look at him like, ooh. Now I haven't been hustling for a while now. When we go back in these stories, I'll explain the timeline that leads up. So it's been a minute, right? But I still know that good, right? I know how to cook everything. Like I've been doing this since I was 12 years old, right? So I'm like, woo, right? I'm seeing fish scales. I'm seeing the ice skating rink on. I'm like, woo. He's like, yeah, I keep it at a fish. I'm like, oh, I can really rock with you. I'm like, you keep it a fish. He's like, nah, I'll make sure I got that official. I'm like, oh, let's go. So he like, all right. So he like, all right, here you go. You such and such. He's like, something. He's like, yeah, they gonna love that. They gonna sniff that. I said, oh no. This ain't coke. This ain't staying coke. He's like, what? I said, nah, this hard. They doing hard where I'm going. He's like, oh, you mess with that hard? I'm like, that's my hood. He said, where you at? I'm out in Hempstead, my hood. I said, I'm from a place called Parkside Project. He said, I heard of that Parkside. I heard they wild. I was like, oh yeah, my projects, they wild. They wild. He said, yeah, I heard of that. I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to my hood. I said, ain't no more coke. They stopped coke 5 years ago. Like, you can't make a penny. I'm like, it's all cracked out. So he's like, Crazy Dave, he sell that crack over on South Side. He got some fiends that he can get to cook it up for you. Like, I don't need no fiends. I said, I don't need no fiends, boy. Chef Boyardee in the house. I'm like, what you don't know? No, I'm not promoting none of that. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just telling a story. What got me, this part of my story got me a state bid. You heard? 2 to 6. a hit bid and for a first time felony offender. You heard? 2 to 6 state bid. Okay. So I'm not promoting this. This will get you jail, lifetime in jail. Don't do no drugs. Don't sell no drugs, none of that. This is stuff that got me jail time and could have got my life taken. So he like, I'm like, all right. So he like, oh, so you good? I'm like, I'm good. I'm about to rock this. As long as you keep it official like this, I said, I'll be coming back with double every time. He like, all right, so whatever. So I get my stuff. Now, I'm not going to tell that story. I'll do a separate story when I go back and tell how I started hustling again. And back in I think this is maybe like 91, 92, right? Because it's right after I left IU in the tour. I'm going to come back and tell a story about that. Granddaddy IU, Mr. K, and we was on tour, and I left the tour. This is when Little Ra was born. I already told the story of the Black Viking. When Little Rashawn was born and his umbilical cord was tied around his neck, I was on tour with Granddaddy IU, and I left the tour. But I'm not sure if I told that in that story, but I'll piece these together, right? Remember, I'm piecing these fragments of my life together. But by the time I finish and I put the book together, they all blend seamlessly. You'll see the pattern, right? Because sometimes I sit here, like tonight, I didn't know what story to tell. Like last night after I finished the investment group, I'm like, what am I going to tell tonight? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't know what story to tell. I'm sitting there and then somehow just said Crazy Dave. And I'm like, crazy. Oh, that'll be good. I was like, okay, Crazy Dave. I'm like, oh, that ties into the story of my grandma because it's the same time, right after she died. So I'm like, all right, cool. So now I got my package. So now I'm back hustling again. All right. I'll tell that another time. Another story. So fast forward. I'm doing my thing a little. It's rough. You know what I mean? Slow. Born checking up on me. I'm like, it's rough, bro. I'm like, but once I said I got to tough it out because I was new back on the block and everybody's established. So what I mean by that is this is a crack era. And if everybody that's out there, they're making thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Every day. But they already established. I'm known, right? A lot of the fiends know me from my old legacy, but I ain't been out there in years selling drugs. So ain't nobody buying from me. You know what I mean? Because they buying from who they usually be buying from. And they used to, and the people that are out there, they so established that they can give out, at this time they were giving out 3 for $10. Okay. 3 for $10. So they was giving out 3 dimes for $10. So $30 worth for $10, right? So let's say you got a dime, right? Because back then you had capsules, crack capsules, and plastic bags. And this got me time in state jail. Just, right? This got me time. State time. All right. So I'm not promoting it. So you would sell a 10 and you get $10, right? So I can't give you 3 for $10 because I don't got a whole kilo. Like I'm just starting. So I'm out there, they giving out 3. I got that 3 for 10. And then the other ones small under them I got 2 for 10. And I'm out there, I got 1. I'm like, I got 1 for 10. Right? I got a 10 for 10. Like you gonna get a dime for 10. Ain't nobody buying your stuff, especially when they've been out there all this time. So whenever they didn't have money, they've been out there looking out. Like, I was out there for, I didn't think I was going to tell it tonight, but let me just tell a little bit. I was out there every night. I would leave Queens. I would get out there about 12 o'clock, 11, 10, 11, 12 at night on South Franklin on the block. And that's when Barry B was killing them. I ain't going to say his name, but Barry had the white 5 Series Beamer, for those from New York who know what I'm talking about. It's when Barry had the white, Barry from The Drive. I ain't gonna say who he is. Y'all know who I'm talking about for those who know. Barry B had the white Beamer, and that's when what's his name? Tommy, Pop and Tommy, Pop Lock and Tommy was doing this thing, and it was others, and they was killing them. And they was giving out 3 for 10, 3 dimes for $10. And I'm up there saying, you know, hey. So finally someone went to buy from me, and they're like, all right, you know, because they know me, like, oh, Rob, you know, I'll get from you. I know you used to keep good. And I'll be like, and they like, I got $20, and they want 6. And I'm trying to give them 2. And they're like, what's this? I'm like, that's a 20. They're like, nah, Ra, I need 6. I'm like, 6? That's $60. I'm sorry, Ra, I can't. And I couldn't make a penny for months and months and months. I couldn't make a nickel. It was rough. I would come home and Pam be like, what you made? I'd be like, I made $5. But that's after all night. I was out there. I used to have to stay out there, guys, until all the crack sellers go home. Literally. I would be out there from 10. I would stay out there. It'd be 6 in the morning. The light coming out. Everybody went home. Now ain't nobody out there selling. So I'm the only one. And then they would come. Because, you know, fiends don't stop. It's 6 in the morning. They come up there looking like zombies. And nobody out there. And I'm standing there like, I got it right here. And they'll take that 10 for 10, that 1 for $10 then. Because there was nowhere else they could get it. And so I knew. I said, I'm going to have to stay out here. I'm going to have to earn this. And so I would stay out there. I would get home 10 in the morning. She's like, what? And then once I learned that, I would come home about 10 in the morning, but I might have $100. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's like, okay, so I got money. We can buy groceries and build to pay the rent when it comes. And I'm not promoting none of this. This is just my reality, what happened. And I was out there. And, well, I'm going to do it now. I was going to save it for that story, but let me do some of it now. And I would be out there, and the time that I would really make a lot of money, this is how I build my clientele, is that it would rain, and it was winter, and it was cold, and it would rainstorm, and nobody want to be out there. And I would stand out there, umbrella, clothes soaking wet, fatigues, black fatigue, army fatigue, black fatigue jacket, black fatigue pants, black boots, in the rain, dripping, soaking. Dudes is like, I'm out of here. Barry B, they like, I'm out of here. They going to the club, a party, or going home. It's 1, 2, 3 in the morning. All the fiends come up. Where everybody at? Where everybody at? 30, 40 fiends. I step out the bushes. I'm like, I'm right here. They look at me like, oh, that. Right, you got 1 for 10. That's all I got. Then they buy. They're like, ooh. Now they realize that good. I'm not promoting this, but I knew how to cook it myself. So I would cook it and cook it straight to the oil and make it pure. I wouldn't try to make it, to get extra coming back, because I wanted to get myself in with quality. And once they taste and realize, ooh, this that fire, this that bells, ding, ding, dong, ding, 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 dong. That's what they used to say. They start dancing. Boy, in the streets in the crack era, I'm not promoting this. This is what it was back in the 90s. Just telling the story of the past life I lived. They used to, you had the bells. There was a song called Ring My Bells, right? The elders know, you can ring my bell. And it's go ding, ding, dong. Ding, 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 dong. Ring My Bells was the jam. This is why crack was called the bells in New York in the 90s, in the crack era. When a person had the the rawest crack, they say I got that bells. When they would say I got the bells, they would say this is gonna ring your bell. Your bell is your head. Ring that ring ding ding dong. So it used to be like you got those bells. So anybody from the crack there know what I'm talking about, especially New York. They be like, yo, the bells, I got those bells, right? I mean, so when they hit my stuff, the fiends, you can see them in the street, ding, ding, dong. They start, that's when you know you got those bells. When the fiends are dancing in the street, oh, they coming back. And that flows. They let others know, oh, he got those bells. He only got 1 for 10, but his 1 is stronger than they 3. You heard? But that took months and months in the rain, in the cold, in the snow, and sick, just not making nothing. I had no choice. That's what I thought. My life was really rough. There was nobody to help me get a job, no real work history. All I knew was the streets. And I'm not giving no excuse, and I'm not telling anybody to do it. But that was my reality. And a lot of people, others' reality. So I know some of the people watching from New York know exactly what I'm talking about, because they did it too. And a lot of them went to jail and did their time as well. And shout out to the others who never did it and didn't have to. Blessed be you. I didn't have that reality. I thought I had to. I'm just keeping it real. And I'd end up almost getting my life taken in jail. So I'm not promoting it again. So during that era, the fiends would dance in the street if they found that bell. Yeah, ring-a-ling-ling. And once they knew I had the bells, I would be out there now, over months now. Now I would come out, and even though they out there and they crews are working and they got 3 for 10, some of them would be like, so I'll be standing out there where before, so it's a bunch of us on the block, right? It's just the crack era. It used to be a bunch of people, cars pulling up, fiends pulling up. It's crowded. It's like a crack market. Crack was crazy during the crack era in the streets, right? In New York City. So all through New York and Strong Island. Right here, we on Strong Island, Hempstead, Strong. I'm on Parkside, South Franklin, all right? Elm and Maple. South Franklin, Elm and Maple. So these are streets. So up the streets from my Parkside projects. So I'm out there, and so I used to be standing out there with everybody, and all the fiends would come up and they would go right to them, buy their stuff and leave, and I'd just be standing there and nobody would buy nothing from me until everybody leave. Once I was out there so long and they started to realize I got the bells, then it started, it took months though. Then I was standing out there one time, and I'm standing out there and everybody out there, because we be out there smoking weed and talking and kicking on Brick Step store. So my story when I'm at the phone booth, that story on my channel where I said the stick-up kids caught me at the phone booth. That phone booth, that corner, there's a brick, there's a steps to a house and it's got a brick and we sit on it. And at that time, I think the phone booth was still there. They might have knocked them down because they eventually got rid of that phone booth because people was getting shot up at that phone. That phone booth was dangerous, right? So they took the phone booth away. But we would sit on that step. And that's Eldridge from my last story with Kenneth Hill. On the Public Enemy cover, I said, this is Eldridge. Him and Jeff saved Bismarcky when we was going, in my documentary, I ain't going to give that away. And he was one of the 98 posse, his El Dorado. His house was that Brick Step thing. His house was next to it. Brick Step used to be a candy store when we was little kids. His dad owned it, but his dad died. So that's Brick Step. So we used to sit on the step and stand there on that corner. This is that time. So we was up from South Franklin's Maple Corner and the projects was right there, right? So it would be a bunch of us. And we'd be smoking weed and we out there making money. They might have their car out there playing music or whatever. And the police didn't really mess with us because the police at that time was more leery, scared. The crack era was so wild that the police didn't really want to mess around. Yeah, the candy store, Reese. Reese remember the candy store. Mad candy from that store. And then it was the other one. Remember the white dude candy store? the other private one, I forgot what his name was. Up where we used to, that other one, we used to go in his house. He had a candy store in his house. The white dude, I forgot his name. Somebody will remember that. But that's even further back than Brickstep Candy Store. So so we be out there, and somebody, they be playing music. Oh, that's what I was talking about. The crack era and the cops. During the height of the crack era, the cops did not want to be messing around. They would patrol, and if they got a call for something, they would come, and they would make sure they come right. It'd be helicopters, it'd be a bunch of them, right? Now you get your super cops later, like Buck and them and Puma and them, but they were super cops, right? Because they come in regardless. In every hood, you got a RoboCop, a super cop, Thor. You know, they always got these names. You know, one of ours, his name was Puma, right? So no matter what hood, no matter where you at, it's always some super crazy cop. They usually dirty as all outdoors, right? And they just buck wild, right? So we always got that, right? But for the most part, the police, they really didn't mess around unless they had to. So in the 90s, in the late 80s, early 90s, it was like a free fall in the streets. It was like we out there all night, and you got cars and fiends coming up, system bumping, we smoking weed. Ain't nobody, cops, they'll drive past. They didn't want that smoke because it was really wild, right? It was really wild. So we out there, right? Now I've been out there months. We out there. Usually they would flee me. So one particular night, we standing out there, we smoking, and everybody out there, I got my respect, but they know, Rod, you fell off, right? You shouldn't have left hustling. Like it's ours now. And I got to respect that, right? So, you know, it wasn't no disrespect to me, but they making all the money. I'm sitting there watching them make thousands of dollars in my face. Now, after they leave about 5 a.m, I can make about $100-something for months and then go home, whatever. But it's all good because I'm paying my dues. Like I already know what this is, right? So I was built for it, right? So one time we out there, and they used to everybody going past me. So we out there, and all of a sudden a bunch of them come up, and so I remember it was Barry and them out there, and his, you know, the dudes who work for him. So they start to step up to them, and the fiends walk right past them and came to me, and it shocked me because they walked past them and came to me, and I'm like, and they're like, no, we want you got the bells, we want yours. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, but I only got 1 for 10. They're like, I don't care. And I'm like, whoa. And they start buying from me. So then I remember the dude's like, oh, wow, you must got the bells, huh? We heard about your bells. All right, you back, huh? I'm like, okay. So then after that, they started to come to me too, right? But they still making all their money because you can't beat a 3 to 10. Now, this the funny part. Once they started to come to me, I'm taking a percentage of what I guess everybody was making normally. So I remember Tommy and them, which I'm gonna save their story for another time. Tommy and them raised it and started giving out 5 for 10. 5 dimes for $10. 5. When you buy one, 5 for 10. I'm like, that's just giving away. I'm like, so like Tommy, like next thing you know, I remember we came out there another day. They're like, Tommy and them got 5 for 10. They got 5 for 10 because Tommy was still on South Franklin, so he was cut. You know, so they was coming up to us. We was on the corner of Maple and Brickstep store, and they like Tommy and them got 5 for 10. So that made Barry and them raise him. He was like, well, I got 4 for 10. And here I am. I'm like, crap. I guess I got to try to do 2 for 10, right? I don't know. I got to try to keep up. But at the time, I started to make a little bit of money now. So I remember I went back to Bourne and I got more. You know what I mean? And I came back again. I got more. So now I got a little bit. So now I got the ding, ding, dongs. And I said, all right, I got 2 for 10. So then after a while, and it's not that story. I just told a little because I was talking about it. After a while, I started building my regulars. And they was like, I'm coming to get raw. Oh, that's why. Okay, let me explain this part. Now, again, I'm not promoting this. Because just my nature, and I'm still like this today, I always had a good heart. Now, selling drugs is not good. It's the heart, it's genocide. That's why I would always stop. I would always stop, and it would get bad for me when I would stop. It would get where I can't pay my bills and life would get really rough. But I never liked selling it because it's genocide to our people, right? Because we're selling it to our own people. So my heart posture always was, I care about people. I was always like that. So when I would be out there, when we would all be out there and everybody making their money, most people, they don't care. They treating the fiends like they crackheads and disrespecting and doing all that. I would still treat them like they're people because they are. They just have a drug problem, right? So that don't mean I need to disrespect them, right? So I would never disrespect them, right? I treat them like they're people. I understand. These are my people and they have a drug problem. I never liked it, right? So now, it'll come 4 o'clock in the morning. We've been out there since 10 p.m. All of us on the corner. These dudes that made thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Everybody got $2,000, $1,500, $1,700, $3,000 in their pocket, depending on who you are, right? They smoking, girls out there, music playing. Now, the fiends come up. Shout out to Reese. Reese said it sounded like his big brother Yodi. And Yodi Yo was out there too. I remember Yodi Yo. Facts. Yodi Yo official. Facts. I told you a story about Yodi Reese. So they would so now it's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Now the fiends come up and they don't got no more money. Y'all hear me? They've been spending money all night. 4:30 in the morning, they come up, they thirsty. They like, I ain't got no more money. They might have $1 crumpled up or $2. That's when they do the whole, I got $5 and they try to give it to you crumpled up, right? Oh, I got $10 and they try to crumple it all up and you open it up and it be $3 and then they here and they give you a quarter. Yeah, right? You're like, bro, it's $10, right? So the difference was they would disrespect them when it comes 4:30 in the morning and they ain't got no more money or they short. They got a crumpled up $2 or something and they starving, they thirsty, they fiending, right? That's why they crack fiend. And they would disrespect them. But I would feel sorry because they've been spending their money all night. Money that's probably their rent money and food money. And I know they just, so you know what I would do? I would look out for them. Right? I would, if they've been, if you spent with me or something, I'd be like, you know what, come here, man. And sometimes I just give them here, give them a neck, or I break off some here. Take that. Here, man. And they'd be like, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Someone would even cry because it was like someone was giving them something. I know this ain't nothing to promote. It's just the truth. I'm just telling y'all my reality, what I lived back then. Someone would even cry because it was a thought that you actually giving me something. And they used to everybody just, taking their money all night and then just treating them like crap. And they on the ground looking for rocks. They fiending and everybody go home with all their money and their big cars and trucks. And they out there. And I would be out there with them. 5 in the morning. Because when everybody leave, remember I said I used to be out there after everybody leave. And they would come up and they would have no more money. And someone was like, this is what happened. This is how I built myself to be back when I started back over. Some would come up. I remember this. I'm telling y'all a thing that happened verbatim. This fiend came up and he was like, I know I've never bought from you. I know I pass over you every time I come up because they got 5 for 10 and you only got 2. But if you please give me something, I promise you, I'll come and buy for you when I got money. I said, nah, man, you know what? It's okay, you good. And I break off some here, man. And he be like, here, I only got, $1 or something. Sometimes I be like, man, just keep it. It's all right. Go ahead, man. Just make sure you look out for me when I got you. And slowly but surely, I would stand out there. And I remember this one thing. He spent a lot of money because some of them, they have really good jobs. Crack really decimated our hood, worse than heroin. These be lawyers. They got jobs, positions, construction work. Like these people have positions, but crack lowered them down to a fiend. So guys, they would spend hundreds and thousands, they would spend their whole paychecks. Like their paychecks would be $1,700, dude. I'm talking about these good jobs where these dudes got $2,000 for a paycheck for a week. And they'll spend the whole $2,000. And then when they come there at 5 a.m, they would, to get your ass, like they would not give them nothing. So I remember this one fiend. It was like 10 o'clock. We out there, everybody out there smoking, and he walked up and they was like, yo, my man. They know he coming to spend $200 every time he come, and he gonna keep coming back. And I remember I'm standing there and they all walked up to him, they rushing, and he said, no. And they like, so I remember one of the other dudes, he's like, nah, he want to come get it from me. He ain't messing with none of y'all. And he was like, nah, I'm coming to see Ra. And I looked and he said, and I remember I said, oh, that's right. He said, you got something? I said, yeah. I said, I only got 2. I only got 2 for 10. He's like, give me 20 of them. Facts. He gave me the money. He's like, I'll be back. And they was like, yo, but we mess with you. He said, nah, I'm messing with him from now on. And that was because I looked out for him when he ain't had nothing. And I wasn't even doing it for that. Honestly, I was only doing it because they were really messed up, guys. And to see them out there like really fiending, starving. It's like that crack, it was like you hungry and you starving and you need food. It was bad, guys. It was so bad that I used to feel so bad for them. And I would just look out for them. I made money, right? I don't know. And again, I'm not promoting it. I'm not saying I'm some Robin Hood. I ain't saying I shouldn't got the time in jail that I got from doing it. I'm just telling the truth. That's what I was living. And so I would be out there with them night after night. And then it became a thing where they became like my friends. Y'all hear me? I'm telling y'all the truth. Where I would be out there, because everybody would leave. Let's say it's Friday night and everybody go to Nagasaki. This was this big nightclub. Or they'll go to the club or one of the club, the Yes Club or wherever they going. Everybody drive off and I'm still out there. Yep, Shelly Shell, it's that time. And they would come and they would chill with me. They would come by and they would go smoke. And then they knew I was by myself and they'd come back. And they'd be out there, Shelly Shell with her music on there, and they'd be out there with me. And then they started running sales for me. This is how I started running my block. They started running sales for me. Bosconi, Mike, Pooch, the neighborhood, the elders who I grew up under, who now got a drug habit of smoking. I still knew them. Those are my elders. Fox, You know, these my elders, pooching them. I watched them growing up. They were basketball players. They was gangsters and stuff. It's just crack messed them up and heroin. So Leon and them, they would end up running sales for me. So now they like, here, we'll go up the block. We'll go get the people from South Franklin and bring them up. We'll go. And next thing you know, shout out to Justo. Next thing you know, we formed a, we got a crew. Like it's me and the Fiends. So I end up having all Fiends working for, which is impossible. Biggie Smalls had a song he said, a crackhead did it. You think they coming back with your money? Man, forget it, right? And when Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big, when he made thank you, Justo, when he made that song, I literally said, oh, he ain't never hustled like I hustled. He ain't never, for him making that song, you're right. He said, you think, what that song? I think it's 10 Crack Commandments, right? The 10 Crack Commandments. He said, some crackhead, forget it. You think they coming back with some with your money, man? Forget it. Something. They would come back with mine. It depends on how you treat them. Now, there's certain ones that'll mess up, but you have to give I'm not promoting this. This was the life of the crack era back then. You would have to give an allotment for those that would mess up. But what some people would do when they would mess up, they would want to beat up the crackhead. To the point when I go back and tell these stories, some of them end up losing their life. I watch crackheads get killed because they're so fragile and someone's beating on them and they don't know they hit them too hard, right? This real life stuff, guys, right? So this is the crack era, the late 80s, early 90s. So if someone would mess up, I would still understand. I would allot for that and I'll give them the time to make it up. And then if they mess up again, then I realize, okay, I can't put nothing in your hand, but you can still run the cell to me. So my man Leon, he come from a popular family in our hood, in Parkside Projects, right? But remember, these are elders, and he was about it. He was about that life, but now he's smoking crack. This is what they did to the children of the book, the people of the book, the children of the Most High. They pushed this crack and these drugs and heroin in our neighborhoods to curse us, to pacify the children, and to break up the families. So Leon, I knew I couldn't put a package in Leon's hand because he couldn't resist. He didn't have the power to be able to bring it back. So what Leon would do, he was go get the customer and walk them back down. And I would give him something for doing that. That's called running the sale. But the others, I could put it in their hand. So when Biggie that's why I said it showed what level it was. But yeah, guys, this is how, when I told the stories at the beginning of this channel in 92 of my block, when I said when LL came up the block, by the time LL, Jamel Henderson, Game 7, by the time my story, I said when he came up the block and it was foggy and he was like, yo, rah! By then I was in the full-fledged running my block. I had the black breakdown bike. That's that story with Pooch and them and I had my Shelly Shell. Oh, the block was on and popping. Then I took it over on my own street. We took Elm Street. I took Elm Street. So hey, you can have Maple, you can have South Franklin. Elm was mine from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. We was doing our thing. Now, ain't nothing to promote. This was genocide. Understand? And it got me state bid. And then further later on, it got me a life bid. Still hustling. So I'm not promoting drugs. But this my testimony. How I became a man of the Most High now. Okay? That it's a testament of anybody can change if I can change. All right? Unique said, love you, King. You tell the truth. The truth is very important. You made a song. All I got is my word and my balls. Facts. Shout out to Daddy U for that beat, too. All right? And that's why they to see my New Yorkers that are here, they writing over on Facebook. They were everything I'm telling y'all, they know they were there and they know the block. And they was up there with their own stories of hustling. So everything I'm telling y'all, they know. These people, they know what I'm talking about. They were there. That's why I said Q Dog was even in the house in Queens I'm talking about. All right. So now, So then that's when I started hustling. So I had another part, but it's good. I'm glad. I'm going to tell part 2 of this next week, because I started hustling, but then I ended up going to jail. That was the one where they tried to kill me in the backyard. The story on the channel where the cops tried to kill me and Michelle saved my life. Crackhead Michelle. So what I'm going to tell next week, I'm going to tell when I got out, how I got out and what happened. And I'm in Queens. Okay? And that leads up to where I got my hand cut off. All right, but anyway, so I almost got my thumb cut off. Justo said my bro still lives on Parkside in Adams Court. Oh, okay, that's what's up. Oh, he from the hood. Okay, he's Adams Court. That's where I got locked up. In the story with that cop, with the music video, and that's where I got. That's before this 25. That's where I got locked up. The 25, the 15 to life. This is when the Most High. That's when the Most High said, now it's time for me to pay the piper, pay back my debt. This is everything, and now change my life. It's time to serve him. That's in that Adams Court where Justo said his brother still lives there. And y'all know I did that story. But anyway, let me get an ending for tonight's story. Let me see, because I ain't going to tell. I'll say that for next week. That, my dad, that one, running granddaddy IU. One time got rough for me, little raw. Left the tour, they put unique move, okay. They killed my grandma, born 92, going hard. Eldridge, meet with the Colombians. I'll do that another time. That's my book. Then I got knocked, shooting out the street lights. That's that. I'll do that next week. I beat the, okay. So, all right. So I'm going to say that, all that for next week. All right. We almost 3 hours in anyway. That's good enough. All right. So let me wrap this one up, because this was the story of Crazy Dave. All right. So this is my Farmers Boulevard. Shout out to Jamaica, Queens. My Farmers Boulevard crew, my 119th crew. Shout out to Linden Boulevard. All right. This was the story of Crazy Dave. I don't know where Crazy Dave is. He could be still out there crazy. All right. All right. There you go. Thank you. Now I got the way to end it. I need to end it with Crazy Dave. All right. Update. So, all right. Let me get back. So, I'm back with Born. Crazy Dave. I got introduced. He told me he got the guns, all this. So, Born tells me Crazy Dave runs, he got a crew over on Southside, some part of Southside Jamaica, and they sell a junk, and he crazy, right? He get a lot of respect, right? So he said, but Born said, but he ain't gonna last long. He always going to jail because he's always shooting out with the cops and stuff. Like he's so Crazy Dave walk around with his gun out. Like he takes his shirt. He got a gun in his waist, but he takes his shirt and he puts his shirt behind the gun. so you know he crazy, right? So you can see the gun. So the cops in Queens, and they like looking for guns. That's the story gonna come out next week here too. Did I write it? Oh, I remember it when I get to the other part. So cops in Queens, they really looking for guns at this point. The crack era, they really didn't want, they'll get you for drugs if you got a lot, but they looking for guns. Okay? They looking for guns. Yeah, Unique. Unique said you messed up the LL Cool G record deal. Yeah, I'll tell some more of that next week. I'll tell that next week, Unique. Matter of fact, let me write that, because that's a good point. I'm going to tell that next week. Record deal. Because that's that story, Unique. I'm going to tell that. Yep. All right. So I wrote that down for next week. All right. We had a record deal with LL. We had so many record deals, and that one messed that up. All right. So, and I'm going to tell the story, Unique, about all that. I'm going to tell the whole story next week, Unique. So, now Crazy Dave. So, Crazy Dave, the cops in Queens didn't like him because he was a wild boy. He was wild. He was a wild man, right? He run around just buck wild, gun flashing, loud, messing with girls, getting drunk, taking zoo bang, angel dust, dusted, you heard? So he running around crazy, right? So I'm like, but I like him. because that I like that style, right? I know crazy dudes from Hempstead, right? I know crazies. I know Crazy Daves. They're everywhere. Crazy Daves are in every hood, no matter where you at, right? All over the world. My people out in the UK, everybody in the Caribbean, wherever, Canada, wherever you at, you got a Crazy Dave somewhere in your hood, right? So I like Crazy Dave because he's crazy. He's official, right? So, and whenever he would see me, oh my goodness. So now, okay, there we go. I'm glad I'm in there with Crazy Dave because it's his story. So now, once I got to know him, now I know him. So I would be pulling up, and let's say I pull on my block, me and Pam and everything, and I already told her about him, and she seen him, but we pull up, and he come down the street. I pull up, and he always wearing these 40 belows with the laces open, with wow, like, and walking up, and he like, yo, yo, God. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Crazy Dave. He's so loud. Like, he one of them that talks so loud that it's like, Dave, shh, the neighbors, man. Like, you okay? Like, fuck these neighbors. Just blah, blah. I'm like, it's crazy, right? He's like, yo, raw. So he's like, you good? You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. You ain't got no beef with nobody, right? None of these queen niggas trying to front on you. I'm like, now you know ain't nobody fronting on me. If they try to front on you, you know I got those things. You know I got those things. Come see me. Come see me. Tell them Crazy Dave coming to see you. They ain't mess with you. Tell them Crazy Dave. I'm like, Dave is so crazy, right? So bang. So Born tell me, like, he don't stay home long because he always doing something, right? He always shooting up something or getting a shootout with cops or fighting or shoot pistol whip. He always doing something. So he we on the block and Crazy Dave come up, right? So I'm out there talking to Born. Crazy Dave, he come out the house, right? So he come out the house. Justo said, I'm originally from the Heights on Yale Street, a few houses down from Linden Bar. All right, that's what's up, Justo. That's what's up. Shout out to Yale Street. My little cousin Keith used to live on Yale Street. Shout out to Yale Street. That's where Big AC from, Aaron Cross from. All right. And then that's where Mosey Green and them from too. And Sam and them from Yale Street, those little houses. And what's the name? The two OGs, Tracy and Dad, what's the other one name? I gotta tell a story on him. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. Tracy and the other one. All right, but anyway. So anyway, let me get back to Crazy Dave in Jamaica, Queens. So one time we out there, and Crazy Dave come up, right? And he telling stories, right? So we out there talking, and in the hood we tell war stories, right? We tell stories, right? And good storytellers, what's up in the hood, especially if you're smoking. You know what I mean? Especially smoking, right? So he walk up, so he start talking. I like to hear him talking. He tell crazy stories. So he started talking about jail. So he was talking about Rikers Island, right? So he's like, yeah, I'm in HDM. He said, HDM, I'm a big monster. I'm the monster, HDM. He said, you ever go to Rikers Island? You talking to me, you ever go to Rikers Island? You say my name, Crazy Dave. He said, Crazy Dave. My name ringing all through the island. Crazy Dave. So I'm like, so he's telling me so he's out there telling stories, and I knew about Rikers Island, and I took a trip, right? And I've been to Queen's House, I've been to QHD, right? Queen's House of Detention. Not promoting going to jail, right? Not promoting. I'm just saying where I've been. And so I know how wild they are. Rikers Island and the crack era was insane. That was a freaking torture chamber den. It was insane. So Crazy Dave is telling me stories of how he cut this German. So back then, this is when the Bloods was started in New York, because it was the blacks versus the Hispanics, right? Latin Kings, Nietas, and stuff like that, right? It's before the Trinis and stuff. This is a crack era. It was mostly Latin Kings, right? And but they called them in jail. They call Hispanics German. I know y'all in New York. I know y'all like Germans. That's just what the New York prison thing. If you ain't from there, don't go there. I advise you. You ain't from there, you don't want to go there. Stay home and listen to the stories on YouTube, okay? Put your foot up, eat popcorn, and listen to the stories on YouTube. So they called them Germans, right? I know you're like, what the Germans? Yeah, Germans. A German was a Hispanic in New York City prison system, in New York City jail, right? So Crazy Dave's telling a story how he was cutting this German because they was at war. This is how the Bloods got started in Rikers Island and stuff. Because they were at war with the Hispanics because the Hispanics were strong and they spoke Spanish to one another and they were powerful, right? In the New York prison system, New York City and Rikers Island. And in the New York State prison system too, but we talking about Rikers Island. So Dave told a story how he was cutting this German and the German was kept trying to run. And as Dave was cutting them all in his back, he said he had his boys, as he would get away from Dave cutting them, they say they call a thing, they called it thing where they called it tic-tac-toe, where they play tic-tac-toe on your body with a razor, with an ox, with a razor blade or a knife, but razor blades work with tic-tac-toe, right? A box cutter, ox cutter. So they would play tic-tac-toe, meaning they would take a knife, a razor on your back and cut your back. One line, cut another line, cut another line, cut another line. The tic-tac-toe board. Then a person with a razor and another person with a razor would play tic-tac-toe on your back. Cut an X, and they cut an O. In your skin, and then they cut an X. While they holding you down and tie you up, it's easy. They say it'd be easy when they tie them up in their hands where they stuff their mouth where they just. Another one, worse than that, they would play tic-tac-toe on their back. Another one worse than that is stories where they play tic-tac-toe on their face. Listen, cut you down, cut you across, X, O, with a razor blade across your face. It was a insane asylum, Rikers Island during the crack era. The Hispanics versus the blacks. So Crazy Dave, he told a story how he was playing tic-tac-toe on a German's back, that's a Hispanic, and every time the German would slip away, his boys would grab him further up the tier and grab him the hall, and he would grab him down again, and they try to hold him down, and he playing tic-tac-toe on his back. And Crazy Dave said, now he telling a story, right? He always keep a beer too. He always keep was it? I don't know. Old English, I think. One of the two. Old English or St. Ives. I don't remember which year it was. But it was either Old English or St. Ives. St. Ives. It's Stides. That was a crackhead beer of the crack era that had a lot of people psycho. Ice Cube promoted it. They had a commercial, St. Ives. Q-Dog used to drink St. Ives. I know he ain't here right now. If he was here, he'd probably be like, I got St. Ives right now. Yeah, Q-Dog was crazy. The Q-Dog that come here, Q was crazy. Q be riding around in his Q45 with a St. Ives in his hand. And St. Ives make you crazy, right? That was crazy beer, right? So Crazy Dave would always have, I forgot that part. He always got a beer too, right? Getting himself drunk to start his whatever. So Reese Carly said, I used to drink that. You had your St. Ives going on, Reese? I know you had your crazy phase too. So, all right. So now Crazy Dave said, I was cutting that. Yeah, it was crazy lit. But Yavana, it was insane. It was fun, but it was the most crazy, dark, fun, sick, psycho. It was horrible, but it was fun in a way of sick fun. It's just horrible, bro. Yeah, I was definitely fight there. So anyway, so he said he got tired of the dude trying to squirm away. That's what Crazy Dad said. He said, I got tired of this dude trying to get away. He want the dude to lay there so they can have a chessboard, a tic-tac-toe board. Okay? So he was mad that the little Hispanic dude, all right, and because most Hispanics they smaller stature, but you get your big boys, right? You get your big boys too, right? Fisher's Hispanic dude. Shout out to my Hispanic brothers and sisters, right? But mostly for the overall of the culture is a little, they're a little shorter or whatever. And Big Dave is kind of big, right? So like, I'm tired of this dude. He won't stay still. So Dave said, because the dude wouldn't stay still, shout out to Darryl Preston in the building out there in Germany. Peace, Jazz. He said, because the dude wouldn't stay still and let me play tic-tac-toe on his back, he said, you know what I did? I got tired of him, right? He said, I pulled his pants down. He said he pulled his pants down and took the razor and slit him up his butt crack. Yo, bro, when he said it and the way he described it, he said, I took the razor, snatched his pants down, and I cut him from the bottom of his balls up his back crack and split open his butt, the butt crack thing, up to his back. And he said, it popped open, and he said it popped open, boom, and butt crack popped open, and there's blood and everything and flesh. And he said, oh, that's a nasty cut. He said, you don't want to cut a person's butt crack open. It's a nasty cut. I'll never do that again. It was ugly. And then, listen, he said, I'll never do that again. It was ugly. He said, I'll never do that again. It was ugly. Grabbed his St. Ives or whatever, took it, drunk it, said, Crazy Dave, I'm out here. See y'all, love y'all, see y'all, keep the whole block down. Crazy Dave out of here. And just start walking up the street, singing whatever rap song he's singing. And I said, this fool. I look at Barnes. I said, did this fool just say he split this man's butthole open up to his back, from his butthole up to the back of his neck? He split the man open. I was like, oh my goodness. Note to self, do not go back to Rikers. Don't go to Rikers Island, right? Yeah, Justo, this dude crazy. So then later on, now we ending. Later on, I come home one day in the morning and Born like, yo, Crazy Dave gone. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, they got him, man. He had a shootout with some cops. He said, yeah, I think he going for a long time this time. They caught him with the gun and everything. He had a shootout with cops on Southside Jamaica. He said, he gone. I'm like, Dad, he gone? He said, yeah, he gone, man. He said, I'm going to go see him. Give him a couple of days. I'm going to go see him and take care of, give him some money on the books. I said, all right, let me know when you're going. I'm going to give you some money to give him some money for his books. He like, all right. And I'm like, I can't go see him because I didn't like being in the system when I'm hustling. It's not my thing. I'll send money, but I can't be going in there where they tell you strip, open your butt cheeks. Well, they don't tell you open your butt cheeks when you go on a visit, but they make you take off all your stuff and this is just a bad omen for me. I ain't going to visit nobody. I'm going to send you money, right? I could take care of you. And Unique, no, I tell people don't come visit me. See? Again, I'm telling y'all receipts. Unique, no. Because remember, they got mad. Unique got mad at me, but he didn't understand because my ex Christy wouldn't relay the real message. And I was telling Unique, don't come visit me. Y'all can't come see me because they trying to get me for a kingpin charge, bro. Y'all still out there hustling. Do not come visit me. And then my Christy didn't relay it the right way to let him know. So my cousin Unique got mad at me because he like, what? Why don't want me to see him? Like, that's family. But he understand I was trying to protect them. No, don't come visit me. And I can't talk to y'all on the phone either. They had me for a big charge. You know what I mean? Like, they trying to give me life. No, I cannot be talking. I'm not boo the fool. Don't come visit me. Don't talk. See, Unique right here. He said real talk, right? I said, do not come visit me. Do not come see me. Send the money through Christy and everything because I know they still hustling. I can't. I'm not no fool. I'm not gonna be talking to y'all on the phone and nah. They trying to put me under the jail. Nah, that's real talk. So I lived lived what I speak, what I was speaking. I don't live that no more. That stuff got me life in prison. All right, got me a 25 to life bid. All right, so I'm not promoting anything. So Born said Crazy Dave was gone, and that was it. I never seen Crazy Dave again. And y'all know the other stories that what happened to my life. But that was the story of Crazy Dave, Farmers Boulevard, Jamaica, Queens, and I mixed in my boy Born. Butter soft skin, cocoa butter Born. That's what I'm starting calling him. Cocoa butter Born. With a butter soft skin. I'm like, man, if you don't get away from my girl, I'm like, boy. Some dudes just, I'm like, get your pretty butt away from my girl. I don't even want you look like you. This the funny part. I swear, you think I'm lying? If I'm lying, I'm flying. Me and Pam pull up in the Benz, right? We get out, Born out there. Now, whenever I get out the car, Born always walks down to me because he always happy to see me. Yo, peace, God, yo, right. He always come talk. So I pull up with Pam, right? We get out the car. I see Born. He pull up. He got out the car. I'm looking like, don't come walking to me. I don't even want you. Okay, what I mean by that, you know how you with your girl, right? You got your girl next to you. Your boy come up. He talking to you. So he talking to you. He's standing. You and your girl as you talking. She looking at him. Get your little cocoa butter face. Nah, you too pretty to be in my girl face like that. I'm like, I was no shame in my game. I ain't never played no games at all. I was raw dog. I was like, Born. He like, what? I'm like, stay right there. He like, what? I'm like, and then I had to tell him later. I said, all right, stay right there, Born. He like, what? So he stood there. So, all right, come on. We get all our stuff out the car. Here, Pam, take the key. Right? You go in the house. Then I walk up. He like, yo, what happened? I was like, nah, listen, Born. When I pull up with Pam, my girl, don't come walking up and be in my face. I ain't trying to have her looking all in your face, bro. You one of them pretty boy dudes. Yeah, nah. She ain't about to be looking all in your little eyes and getting all hypnotized. I ain't playing none of that. All that little, cocoa butter skin. I'm like, boy, that stuff ain't fair. That's that Absalom. In the Bible, they got a person named Absalom. Is King David. Dayah. These are black people, guys, from my Bible. Absalom was the prettiest man in the world. Supposed to be the prettiest man in the world, right? That's King David's son. That's that Absalom stuff. Hey, get your little Absalom butt away from my girl. You ain't standing in her face. That's why I said that's the one who took me to the hospital. Remember, I said, boy, stay away from him. I don't play all that. If you been fall in love, just from all the cocoa butter. Get your cocoa butter self out of here. And you got money, and you fly, and you're official, and you got all the cards. You tripping. Boy, stay away. He used to laugh at that. He knew. I tell him, I don't care. Ain't no shame in my game. He'll laugh. I'll stay away. To stay up the streets. And Ron, you be tripping, man. You be tripping. I'm like, stay away, man. I ain't playing all that. Right? I don't play no games. Keep your little pretty butt away from my girl. Right? Keep your pretty people away from your husband and wife, guys. All right? That's temptation. All right? All right. So, Justo said he misspelled something. Let me see what you wrote, Justo. He said, my bro was on Rikers around that time, either the early or the mid 90s, back when Cole still wear your street clothes. Oh, when you could still wear street. Yeah, so if he was there, that's the crack era. He was there when it was Gladiator School. It was raw dog. Even Nassau County Jail was Gladiator School too. But Rikers was a different beast because they let the inmates run the prison. But in Nassau County, the COs still ran the prison, these Nazis, these white racist COs, but it was still going down. But Rikers was a whole different beast. in the crack era. So if your brother was there, he was there when I'm talking about, when Crazy Dave was there. All right. This was the story of Crazy Dave. The New York City crack era in the early 90s. If Crazy Dave's still alive, shout out to Crazy Dave. If he ain't, RIP to Crazy Dave. A crazy brother. Everybody from everywhere, y'all all got a Crazy Dave that I'm quite sure y'all knew. Shout out to Laura Mears over on Facebook. Let me see anybody else that had came in. All right. Shout out to everybody on Facebook. Jazz, Del Preston, Laura Mears, Diane Conyers, Ryan Napierre, Jesse Burrow, and Reese Collier. Shout out to everybody. Another one down. Okay, YAHSHUAH 25 to Life Testimony TV. Go forth, guys. Be the light that you are. Do not do no crime. These are just stories. Enjoy the trials and tribulations of my story, laugh, joke, and everything, but don't do none of this. Don't sell no drugs. Don't carry no guns if you don't got a gun license. My opinion, try to get a gun license because this world is going worse and worse. If you in New York, you can't get one, move out of New York and go somewhere where you can get a gun license so you can protect yourself. Get a license to get a gun. All right. If you got a felony, don't get a gun because you don't want to be in nobody's jail with what they got coming. Okay. Follow the laws of the land that you in. Right. As long as they don't go against the laws of the Most High, follow the laws. Give Caesar what's Caesar. The laws of the land you in. Don't do no crimes. Get a job. Get your own business. I'll teach you digital investing in a minute. I got my commercial coming next week. I'll be showing y'all our investment commercial. There's a bull market, a bull run going on right now in digital currency. So we'll be walking you through step by step. I'm an authoritative in the digital currency community. We have his channel. We've had it for years. And I'll be bringing it to y'all. All right, to teach y'all and how to set up. Because now people are making millionaires. You can make $100,000 in these next coming of months. You can make money that could prepare your family, get yourself out of debt and all of that. All right. I love you all. Uncle YAHSHUAH 25 to Life Testimony TV. Another one down. Remember the motto. Always. Keep it functional. Thank you, Wyatt. I almost forgot why I said keep it functional. I love y'all all. I see everybody, most of y'all, on the ministry tomorrow. 25 to Life, Mashiach Assembly Ministries channel. Just type in Uncle YAHSHUAH in Google and you'll see the ministry channel and this 25 to Life channel. The ministry is dope. I'll see y'all tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, CPT, about 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, live on YouTube. I love y'all. Keep it functional. Another one down. Love the Most High, y'all. We out. Hope y'all enjoy. I love y'all, everybody back home. RIP to Thirst. And my condolences to your whole family. All right. Keep it functional.
This is 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH.
You wanna know why they call me Lucky Lucha? They call me Lucha cause I like to tuck that choochie. All the time on the grind, getting that doochie.
This is a little story on 25 to Life with Uncle YAHSHUAH. Like and subscribe for more incredible stories every week.
Police are on the scene of a triple homicide on Long Island. It happened overnight at a home in Hempstead.
I'm from Hempstead, dark side, the ghetto, the dark side, strong, the wrong, I think I'm